it was a fault on the U.S. team's part because they'd been training to fight their next round competitors. They were basically training to fight South Korea.
Yeah.
They weren't thinking about the UK team. They were just they're like there's nobody that we know on the UK team. They're not that good. Whatever.
What could the UK team done to like change Overwatch?
Right.
Yeah.
And then they did.
Yeah.
And so it was just
especially because the London Spitfire is made up from no one from the UK.
Right, exactly.
I was gonna say that was my point about like what about all the other Chinese players and all the other teams? Like it's not just it's not just Koreans, but like I mean there's a lot of Koreans, but there's just a lot of Asian players on other teams. So when you get like the Asian teams all to form together, you're gonna get some interesting talent.
But that it was important that China win as far as they did because that shows the Chinese government and the country of China that esports is viable in their country and that Overwatch is viable in their country. It isn't just a one-off 10 people are doing this kind of thing.
Right.
They are now on the world stage as being a formidable opponent to play up against in that they will probably be working really hard this next year to start beefing up their roster and make themselves more in the competitive space of Overwatch.
They should, man. I mean, I would love for Shanghai to come out fucking swinging in the next OWL.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that would be amazing. Yeah. Watch them just sweep a few games and everyone go, holy shit.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it was a big disappointment for the U.S., but unfortunately that meant that South Korea ended up winning the whole thing for the third year in a row. And we're like, well, I guess that happened. All right, we ready to test this thing?
Yeah, I did it while y'all were talking.
Oh, cool. So
awesome.
We're good to go?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a beer before you click.
I need fucking allergy medicine.
I don't have any of that over here.
No, I should have taken it when I first woke up, but now it's getting really, really irritating. My nose will quit itching.
Right.
There's like a Hershey's pudding cup we could use as a suppository.
First off, those are my pudding cups. Don't touch my fucking pudding cup.
I was offering it to you. Just up the butt.
Don't touch my fucking pudding cup. That's what I'm saying.
But do touch his butt.
Oh yeah, no, I mean the butt.
You just don't fucking touch my pudding cup.
Butt's fair game. We all know that.
Tony's breaking shit before the show even starts.
We haven't even started yet. You're just breaking shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of fucking stuff in this and fell and fucking I gotta find allergy medicine.
He's gonna fall asleep in his chair.
So yeah, BlizzCon was like just brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I knew before it started that there was nothing. They were gonna announce nothing that would interest me, and I was like, okay, like. Obviously, I'm excited for new Overwatch content.
Announce anything that is going to actively make you angry?
No, and see that was the thing. I was like, okay, obviously they'll announce new Overwatch stuff. I'll check it out after. It's going to be on YouTube. Sure. They might announce, I don't know, something for Diablo, but they said explicitly we're not getting Diablo 4, so I'm like, don't need to worry about that.
Right.
What are the other IPs? Fucking StarCraft, don't give a fuck. Here's the Storm, might be fun sometimes, don't give a fuck.
It's cool that they got an original character finally.
It is. But I'm like, I didn't need to watch it for any of that.
Yeah.
Like
I was just watching for the World Cup.
Yeah. So afterwards, when I heard about fucking a mobile game outsourced to a Chinese studio based on Diablo, I was like, well, that's not a good look.
Yeah.
And then I went ahead and watched some VODs where like they announced it, and then the audience is like, what? No, boo. And I watched the people on stage react so badly. They were like, what do you mean, boo?
Right.
It's like, fucking boo is what we mean.
You knew this was coming.
Yeah.
And I know that we're going to be repeating ourselves in the show.
And that's fine.
It was like you knew this was coming because you wouldn't have been holding this shareholders meeting on Tuesday that you called 2 months beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
You said, the Tuesday after BlizzCon, we are holding a shareholders meeting. Somebody knew.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody knew this was going to be a problem.
Not only do I think they absolutely should have been able to guess what the fan reaction should be, but they should have planned for it and been able to spin it.
Yeah.
On stage to their fans, they could have expressed this in a good light and gotten their fans back on their side. They really could have, but they just didn't try hard enough.
Up there and asked because when they took questions.
Yeah. What? You don't have phones?
No.
Yeah.
One was it was. Is that what his answer was to? Is this an April Fool's joke? Like,
yeah, no. That was
like the best question. Like, are y'all?
No, that wasn't the best question. The answer to that one was unfortunately no. No. What happened was a guy starts talking about the mobile game And the audience boos at him, and he looks at them with this fucking shitty look in his face and goes, "Y'all don't have phones?" It's like, this isn't the point, bro.
Right.
Like,
you're just being a dick.
Yeah, way to fuck. Like, oh man,
it was not a
it was
professional
a bad
way to handle the situation.
And you're like, yeah, we have phones. We use it to play Fortnite. Fuck you.
But I mean, like, there's just a way that you conduct yourself when you are a member of a company like that, and it would have been less damage if you had gone up there and said something like, "I know that you maybe have maybe you're nervous about this, but we ask you to just give it a shot. We've got it on the floor.
Yeah,
play it." Instead of getting really defensive about it.
No, they could have just been like, well, give it a try. We've
spent millions of dollars on this.
Well, that was everyone's argument. Yeah. That was everyone's argument. You canceled Titan. You canceled Ghost. Like, you canceled projects that everyone wanted because you felt like they weren't up to your standards. Then you outsourced a Diablo title to a Chinese studio making a free-to-play microtransaction.
Diablo has always been like the redheaded stepchild of Blizzard.
I mean, but I want to dispel immediately as we go live and whatnot. I want to immediately dispel the notion, because it happens a lot in video games, that a vocal minority of angry nerds were angry and it's blown out of proportion. That's not what this is. I feel like this is bigger.
Okay,
than
no, especially because this was at BlizzCon, and that is not the vocal minority of angry nerds. That is the fans of Blizzard shit.
True.
Yeah, you're not at E3 where it's just random smattering of fans. You're at the
it is a fan convention. It's not E3. It's not journalists. They're journalists there, but it's fucking fans in cosplay ready to fuck.
People specifically for all of your one company.
Yeah.
So it means generally if you're going to BlizzCon, you're a fan of more than just one fucking game.
Right.
It's true. All right, ready to do this thing?
Let's do it. I just realized
we've been live this
awesome
entire fucking time.
Oh, that's good.
Actually doing the episode.
Oh,
yeah. No, we can record what we're saying.
We're just gonna repeat it.
What a novel concept.
Why is Red Dead Redemption hurting the games industry? Adventures, saddle up for an all-new episode.
Hurting it with money.
Sorry, it's still fucking quit itching.
Sorry.
We're gonna neti pot you live on TV. It's gonna be live on Twitch.
I just did a
nasal
spray, which takes like 20 minutes for it to kick in.
Yeah.
Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the show. We are the Surly Nerd, your one-stop shop for geek news that might have flown under your radar over the last week. I'm your host, James, and sitting across from me is the producer of this fine show, Tony.
Hi.
Oh, no.
I'm a little hungover right now. Sorry.
Yeah, we had a big Halloween party this last night, actually. So.
Would you say it was a monster mash?
Oh, God, don't please. And just for those of you obviously tuning in live, it is November 3rd. We are recording a day early, or 4th. It's the 4th. It's the 4th
Is
now.
it the 4th?
I don't know. We lost
an
hour.
We lost an hour. It might as well be the day.
Everybody's
fucking
all confused.
around.
And if you're wondering why we're recording on Sunday, well, it's Hector's birthday, and we want to do something special for Hector. So he said he wanted to record on Sunday so we can get a little drunk, have a little fun.
Exactly.
And he also picked the epilogue this week.
I did.
So that's super exciting. All right, so if you're new to our show, welcome. This week we'll be talking about Red Dead Redemption's 2 impact on the world of gaming. But before that, we have a recap of all the nerd news that's fit to rant about for your ears. Don't forget that you can keep connected with us through thesurlynerd.com, where you can follow us on all social media platforms and even donate to the show. Every penny donated goes right back into the show that we make for you every week. With all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, adventurers of all ages, it's time for The Prelude.
I didn't realize I don't have my headphones on.
It's all probably fine.
It's fine. It's fine. We'll just chalk it up to it's your birthday and we're hungover.
It's my birthday.
Oh damn! I should have recorded that. That should be the opening. Prelude.
All right, this is the Prelude. This is what we've been doing with ourselves this week, what we've been playing, what we've been watching, what's been occupying our free time. Hector, it's your birthday. Why don't you talk about what you've been doing?
It's my birthday. All right, so I finished Hill House. I requested formally to James earlier today that we do an entire episode on the haunting of Hill House, which may or may not happen, but we'll at least get an epilogue out of it. It deserves a breakdown, but we have to wait for all of you to watch it. Yep. Please watch it. Oh my God, watch it.
I'm thinking like they have until Thanksgiving.
It's the best horror that's come out this year, and this is coming from someone who loved A Quiet Place, and I like more than I should have, and loved Hereditary. But this is the best. This is the best we've had maybe in a decade.
The best of 2018. You're just like
yes,
right
best
here.
of 2018, hands down.
Oh yeah, no, hands down. It was seriously the best. One of the best things I've seen,
and there's
possibly in the past 10 years.
And there's so much more that's good that's come out this year. It feels like we've been talking about the renaissance of horror coming in the last year or two, but this is the peak of that right now so far.
I was gonna say I hope this isn't the peak. Like,
yeah, this is the peak so far. I hope it gets better, but this is the best we have as of right now. Go watch it. I've done other stuff this week that I could talk about, but this is all I care about.
Right.
Watch The Haunting of Hill House.
Okay. Tony, what about you?
Yeah, I'm hungover.
I had alcohol yesterday, and now I hurt.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on right now.
Yeah.
I've been playing some PC Building Simulator.
Yeah.
It's
so
fun.
that game is exactly what it sounds like, right?
Yes, you build computers on a computer.
It's basically fantasy football for PC building.
Well, it does. It has a career mode where you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is where it gets me. Like, it's one thing to just like build your PC and make sure everything works and the voltages are fine. It's another to like try and get the high score among your friends. Like, it's basically fantasy football.
How does it score you? Like by how fast you do it, or
by how good your theoretical 3D Mark score is based on what you've built?
Wow.
Yeah, no, you run 3D Mark inside of it, which is weird because it takes time. It's like super slow and shit.
Yeah, because it's trying to run 3D Mark in a simulation on simulated hardware, which is impressive that they made that to begin with.
See, that's not the career mode. The career mode is you actually run a business and people send you broken computers and you have to fix them or upgrade them and do things to them.
That's
right,
great.
so you can't actually like solder any boards, obviously.
No.
You're just
No,
like,
you're choosing
what's
parts.
broken, that's broken, throw it out, put a new thing in.
Yeah, well, you have to order them, you have to wait for them to come in and all that.
Okay.
Wow.
So so there was this fantasy game that came out several years ago called The Reciteer, where you were the shop owner in a JRPG.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, a JRPG hero would walk into your store and buy, like, 12 potions and, like the claymore that you had on the wall, because it was an upgrade from what they had. And your job it was basically store manager, like football manager, but it was store manager. You needed to keep things in stock. You needed to keep the weapons polished and sharp, and they needed to look good to the JRPG heroes walking through your store in your town every day. And you could move to like bigger and bigger towns and set up bigger and bigger shops. Wow. It was hilarious.
Yeah, there was a comedian a while back that made the joke. I can't remember who it is, and I'm going to paraphrase it. That there should be a video game where you get to, I think it was Dimitri Martin. He's like, you get to play as the doctor that is having to fix all the people that are coming in from all the gun wounds and stabbings and all the things from all the other games.
I think it's called Surgeon Simulator.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what that is. All right, let's see. On my side of the world, it was a pretty busy week, just mostly work-related things. But outside of that, BlizzCon was this weekend. We're going to be talking a lot about BlizzCon during this episode.
Oh, Lord.
So if you know anything about what transpired there, hold on to your butts. We've got a lot to say about that. I did watch the Overwatch World Cup. I was excited to watch the World Cup for about 5 seconds, and then the U.S. lost in the first round, and I was like, well, there went my weekend. You know, was planning on watching us, finally take it. The U.S. was picked as being the #1 contender for the Overwatch World Cup, that they were finally going to dethrone South Korea this year. We had an amazing lineup. We had several members of the Houston Outlaws on it. I was pumped. I was watching it, and then I went to go make a pizza or something. Then I came back and I was like, what the fuck just happened? How the fuck did we lose in those 5 minutes I was gone? We blew them away like the UK. The UK is who we lost to. I just want to throw this out there. The UK doesn't even have people on their team that are in the Overwatch League.
Literally, no one on their team is in the Overwatch League.
They're playing like the B team. They're playing like the five deadly venoms or something.
Right, that's what it is. It's just this I think some of them are contenders.
Sure.
These are not people that are unknowns.
Right.
But these are not the people that, when you're watching Overwatch League week to week that you're watching.
Yeah.
Right? And so the fact that we lost to this, I wouldn't call them a B team, but they were definitely not an A team, was just what the fuck fuck.
Like an A- team.
Yeah, they're like an A- team at that point.
Like, they're still like winning like in their GPA, but like they're not as good as the super smart kids.
Exactly, and it was just really crazy to watch that. And then like the other teams coming out of nowhere, because like China was also kind of in the same tier as the UK, and then China came out of nowhere and just really started kicking ass. And that did excite me that China was doing so well, because the Shanghai team wasn't very strong. One might call them the worst team in the league.
You might call them the team that never won a game and
barely won a map
so far.
Yeah, they won like what, 2 maps in total?
Yeah,
in all of Overwatch League, like in the history of the entire sport.
Yeah,
Shanghai has not won a game. You might call them that.
Yeah,
yeah. No, they've successfully replaced pretty much their entire team for the next season of Overwatch League.
Gaguri, and then they were like,
yeah,
and everyone else is gone.
They were like, maybe we should put Gaguri on the team. Oh, maybe we should replace everyone but Gaguri on the team.
Exactly. So, you know, it was really cool seeing China progress as well as they did in the World Cup, because that means that Shanghai's going to have a really cool group of people to pull from for the second season of the Overwatch League. Seeing the UK team step, I don't know, I am a little bit of a sucker for like when these smaller teams come in and kick ass.
Oh yeah, underdog story.
Love it. Complete underdog story. I probably would have rooted for the UK if they weren't playing the US. I would have been like, yeah, you guys fucking do it. But then the US lost to them, and I was like, I can't root for you anymore now.
No,
forever.
I hope you.
Fuck you guys.
I hope you leave the EU or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brexit your whole team. Jeez,
That's
I'm done with it. All right, that's everything that we have for the prelude this week. We're gonna take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going to level 1 comic book news.
Yeah, no, Overwatch. It has transformed pretty interestingly.
Yeah, for real.
It's weird though, because I have a lot of friends that like you think would have loved the fucking game of Overwatch because we play first-person shooters, like the tactical capability of it, but they fucking hate Overwatch.
And yet there are people that never play a first-person shooter in their life, and they love Overwatch.
Yeah,
right.
I think it comes down to the characterization of the characters in the game. They have the power sets. Like,
They're heroes.
They're
it's a
heroes.
hero shooter, and if I'm being completely honest, this year's version of Call of Duty 100% adopted the hero model. You have your multiplayer games, but every team has like 7 heroes to choose from, and those heroes all have different abilities that are activated as ultimates and as recharging time based, like lesser ultimates.
Right.
Like there's that all over the game. It's all borrowed from Overwatch. 100%.
And there's something to be said for the fact that Overwatch is a very accessible game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People that never play first-person shooters, people say if you don't play first-person shooters, play Overwatch.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I can't.
And its stylization lends itself to people who don't normally play first-person shooters.
You show people who've never even thought about playing a first-person shooter, like a Mei or a Diva or a Lucio, and they're like, oh, that. I like that. I dig this design. I want to play this game. And then, they get into the strategy of it and learn that they might love a whole thing that they never even really knew was available.
I mean, people say like, oh, well, I can't click heads.
Right.
And you're like, okay, try Marcy.
Yeah, there's a lot of heroes
try.
you do not have to click heads for.
Yeah. I mean, the new character that's coming out, she is a very technical character, but like her dynamite ability requires 0 skill.
Right.
I mean, shooting it out of the air if you want to be fancy with it does, but really she's just like lobbing dynamite at people.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly how that works.
No, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's see, I play Destiny, and for me, Overwatch is fun, but it does have a very high level of competitiveness to it.
Oh yeah.
But to me, it doesn't still fit that it's a first-person shooter to me.
No.
Because it's not as technical indie. I'm going to shoot you with a gun.
Yeah,
right. No, it's the best. It's easy to pick up. Impossible to master is probably the best nomenclature for Overwatch ever.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I played Unreal Tournament competitively, and Unreal Tournament competitively, it is a very fast game. It is a very technically challenging game. And now with me coaching an Overwatch team, it is very different. I'm used to this very high-paced, frantic environment that's Unreal Tournament. And in Overwatch, like I have a playbook for Overwatch for our team. Like we break down certain stats on maps, and we have a playbook. That's something you would never have in Unreal Tournament. You would never need to have a playbook for Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, I feel like Overwatch feels a lot more like you're setting up a battlefield rather than you're just smashing like like toys against each other.
Right.
Yeah. Overwatch feels like, okay, you move towards the battlefront and you group up and then you like pincer or go in high and low at the same time. You know, you're trying to set up troop formation movements rather than anything else as a manager.
If you're playing as a team in something like Halo or Destiny or something that, or fuck, even it's like the Call of Duty tournaments and things, but more of a traditional first-person shooter, the teams are going to do it. They're going to have playbooks. They're going to have the, you're going to have your flanking person that's going to try and catch them off guard.
Have you ever, like back in the early Halo days, playing against a team that were actually like military vets was like the scariest thing in the world.
Oh, it was horrible. Yeah.
Because they basically just like had all their formations and everything from when they were in the service. And like, yeah, let's just do that.
Yeah, we just walk down this hallway and anyone who approaches us, we got it covered. Anytime they move, either you moving or I'm moving, we got a beat on them.
It's crazy. All right, let's get into comics.
Yeah, no, it's Overwatch fun, but it's not a true first-person shooter.
Oh my god, don't be that guy.
So I'm not even going to pick that up. I'm going to let you lay that on the floor, and I'm going to leave it there and watch it die.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've got to click the other thing. Go to the editor.
Click things. Whoa, my face. Weird.
Are you done, Ice Maker? Thank you.
Ice Maker is never done. Not after y'all's night last night.
Okay, let's Level 1 comic book news.
Hey, Adventurers, welcome back to the show. So one of the ongoing series at Marvel that's been super popular is the quote-unquote Old Man series. This whole trend started with Old Man Logan. It's this post-apocalyptic future. If you've ever seen the movie Logan, it pulls a lot of elements from the Old Man Logan trade paperback. Recently, they've released Old Man Hawkeye, which is actually selling very well. It's a sequel-ish or something to the Old Man Logan storyline. It plays in the same space.
So it's the same story. It's not just like Old Man Hawkeye is just old Hawkeye and like his story.
Right. So in Old
it actually does connect to Old Man Logan.
It does, because in Old Man Logan, the story actually starts with him talking to Hawkeye, essentially Old Man Hawkeye.
Right on.
And that's what kicks things in motion in that book. And so people were always kind of wondering, like, hey, what happened to Hawkeye to make him so like fucked up and blind and all this other stuff? And so like now we've got the Old Man Hawkeye books coming out. We're finding out more about that. So the universe it's its own Elseworld now. Right? It's this old alternate universe now that Old Man Logan's being killed in the main continuity of Marvel Comics. And so we found out this week this trend is going to continue, but in a very interesting direction. They're actually working on a story that's going to be called Old Man Quill.
Okay.
Okay.
So
yeah, I got nothing,
right. So think about this for a second. Old Man Logan and Old Man Hawkeye all take place on Earth, like post-apocalypse. Everything's fucked, and like at some point you're like, what were the Guardians of the Galaxy doing during this time where everything was getting effed and the Incredible Hulk was fucking his cousins and shit?
I actually never had that thought during Old Man Logan or the Logan movie. I never once thought, I wonder what Peter Quill's doing.
Right, but in you were watching the Logan movie for Logan because I suggested to you to actually read Old Man Logan.
Oh no, I have it. You made me buy it, and I haven't gotten to it yet, but it's on my list.
Yeah, but I mean that's definitely it is a story that encompasses the majority of the Marvel universe. I mean it tells how the X-Men die. It tells how like a lot of the superheroes are killed off. Like it sets this really high bar for creating an expansive yet empty universe.
Sure.
And so the idea of going to like Old Man Peter Quill, it's like like you know what? It should be 5 pages. It should be him showing up at Earth and being like, "What the fuck happened?"
I feel like it should. Okay, so like anyone who's ever had like the grandpa, like not the crotchety grandpa that's so much old Hollywood and like Clint Eastwood, but like the grandpa who's like, pull my finger.
Yeah.
That like the entire comic book could just be Quill being like, wait, this is funny, I swear. No, I'm not gonna do what you think I'm gonna do. I'm not. Just pull it.
That could very well be the book itself.
I would read the entire book
if it's just him saying pull my finger.
For just him just walking full up onto like Logan, Hawkeye, and like Thanos and being like, hey, wait. Seriously, no, pull my finger.
So it'll be an interesting take on the Old Man universe that they've been doing for a while. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. Again, Old Man Hawkeye's selling very well. People have been very responsive to it, even though the people that are working on that project are not the people that originally worked on Old Man Logan.
And that's fine. I mean, I feel like you need two different types of writers to write Logan and Hawkeye. I mean, that's a different story.
I mean, it's different characters in the same universe. It's fine. I mean, the people who created these characters aren't the people still writing them to this day.
Right.
People can write other things. That's how comic books work.
It's true. All right. So we know that Wolverine is officially back in the Marvel Universe. I think they're about 2 issues into his return at this point, trying to solve the mystery of like why he's back and all that good stuff. So one of the projects they're working on, and this is the writer who is working on the Return of Wolverine right now, is working on a 12-part story about Wolverine. And it's going to follow Wolverine across multiple decades. It's going to start during the events of the Second World War, and each issue will take place in a different time period. So, I mean, it's really, we've always known that Wolverine's existed throughout the ages. He's a really old kind of guy.
He's 250 years old or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we had him. I mean, even if we want to like absorb some of the bullshit Fox movies, like he was in the Civil War and shit. I mean,
I think that I thought he originally dated back to World War I, or I want to say
it was before World War I.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, because you literally find that out like the very beginning of Wolverine Origins. Like not the movie, like the comic book. Like you see him as a child.
Yeah. So I mean, we have a lot of Wolverine lore to cover. And that's one of the great things about the character. Even though I'm not the biggest Wolverine fan, I've gone on record saying that. But one of the cool things about the character is that you do get to jump around in time a little bit.
Yeah.
And the idea that they're doing this 12-issue miniseries that are basically just a series of like one-shot stories about like, here's what, if you've ever wondered what Wolverine was doing during this time, this is what he was doing.
No, I like it. I like it.
I think every issue needs to have like one like back panel or something, like a silly version of it though. Like it's like the entire story is really serious, but it's like, what was Wolverine doing on Halloween of like 1978? And it's just like him on the shitter, like or something like that. Like he's just like one-off things. Like because I mean the guy's really busy. If you ever really think about it, Wolverine does a lot of stuff.
Right?
No, it's the same problem I had with the movie or the TV show 24. Wolverine is the same fucking issue. They're too busy to do anything. When do you take a shit? You can't take a shit.
Like, it was 24 hours. This guy did not once drink a glass of water.
Yeah, like this doesn't make any fucking sense. And Wolverine's in like all of these fucking teams, so he's jumping from like place to place, fighting constantly. I honestly, it's too much. He should have stayed dead. He needs some fucking time off, man.
Or he should just be in hiding, like what's his name after the TV show. I'm sorry, that's great radio.
Yeah,
really great.
No, the Dexter, like Dexter kind of like disappears at the end of the show. Fucking spoilers, sorry for the end
10 years ago
for the end of Dexter. But he basically becomes like hidden Batman, and like I figured Logan would just like go become a logger somewhere and like I can cut down logs. I'm just gonna go into the forest. Where's your chainsaw? I don't need it. I'm fine.
I mean, Thanos became a farmer at one point.
That's what I'm saying.
He was like, I'm done. I'm just gonna go farm.
Logan can move to the Pacific Northwest and just like cut down some trees.
Well, he tried that in one of the movies. Remember?
Yeah, it didn't work out.
He tried to retire, and then
Logan.
Everyone tries to retire. The point is that you don't give
just
up.
When they thought they were out, they get pulled back in.
Yeah. The point is that you keep retiring until you're retired.
Logan's gonna retire until they do the Twin Peaks crossover, and then it's suddenly Wolverine's back. Okay,
so he's gonna retire until he stops coming back. Like literally, everyone comes over and he's like, "No, Logan, we really need you this time." The minute he cuts that guy's throat, he's retired.
There you go. Absolutely. All right, so our last little bit of comic book news for the week. It's a little time sensitive. We don't like to do a whole lot of time sensitive stuff on the show, but I feel like this is very important. Marvel Comics Charles Soule, who works on a lot of their projects. He works on things like X-Men, Daredevil, Star Wars, just you name it. He's probably had his hand in it at some point.
Yeah.
But he's a writer for Marvel. Put out a tweet this week that is time sensitive and very important. So we'll try and get this episode up as quickly as possible. He tweeted out, "Hello, I write comics, stories for Star Wars, Daredevil, X-Men, etc. It's time to use this power for good. If you vote this Tuesday, I will write you in however you want. You want to be Wolverine's best bud? Done. A Jedi? Done. Darth Vader? Sure. Next Captain America? Done. Just vote." Actual statement he made. Did not expect the number of tweets he got in reply to
Jesus Christ. Why did he not expect that?
So if you go and vote in the midterm election on Tuesday, November 6th, we strongly encourage everybody, no matter their political affiliation, please go vote.
I don't care what you like, just vote for it.
So you can then go to his Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
which I will put in the show notes, and you can tell him or take a picture or something like that and say, hey, if you voted, I want you to do something.
Here's my name.
For the record, I've already put you and I basically put this podcast in with the suggestion that somebody like in the Marvel universe was just listening to our podcast at some point.
Yes, we need that.
Cool.
He did come back on Twitter and said, I will probably be writing y'all into comics for the next several years, and I'm sorry. Like it's gonna take time for me to get to all of this. So if someday Spider-Man's sitting around in his apartment and you hear that he's listening to this early,
It wouldn't be Spider-Man. It would be some nerd just like on the internet. Like, I wonder what these guys have to say about this movie I liked.
So please do go out and vote. We do strongly encourage it. We're not a political podcast, but we do feel like it's a very important part of the American process. So
Indeed. Please do vote.
Yep.
Or someone will do it for you.
Right. So that's everything that we have for comic book news this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going to level 2, game industry news.
Your elastics are off on the sides, and I need them to be fixed because now it bothers me.
Oh, okay. I thought I was worried that it actually was affecting the sound, but it turns out it's just your OCD.
Oh, I mean, it's more like whenever this one's over here.
Oh, good call. Hi, Archer.
Also, don't crack your knuckles at the microphone.
Do I do that?
Yeah.
I hardly ever know when I do that.
You did it earlier. You're like,
I probably do it a lot.
You're like,
No, so we used to have Westworld night, me and my buddy Ross, and he never said anything, bless his heart. But I literally found myself like cracking every one of my knuckles, like every time the like show would get intense, because they don't stop cracking; they'll crack forever. I could literally do this my entire life, and he would just sit there and just watch the show and be like,
Could
I'm putting up with this because we're bros and I love you, but I kind of want to punch you in the face.
That's how I feel about this cat right now.
Hey, this cat is the best.
But it's in the show again.
He's in the show.
You should be in the show.
He just wants to be a part of it.
Yeah.
This is not your podcast.
It is his podcast.
Yep. He goes where he wants. We were gone all night last night. He's very upset. He needs attention and love.
It's Fantastic Beans and Where to Find Them.
Fantastic. Where to find them. That's his show.
Have y'all seen the fucking, like, shit for that shit?
What?
Fantastic Beasts 2?
I've seen the menu for Alamo.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It looks. There's a couple of things I want to go. I have to go eat that. Like
Yeah.
it's not, like it's like a beef and
Okay.
potato.
I think it was like
thing.
3
sounds so
movies
fucking
ago.
good.
I think it might have been like Deathly, not Deathly Hollows. I think it might have been Order of the Phoenix. Their butterbeer was so fucking on point that I'll never go anywhere else for butterbeer. The Alamo Drafthouse butterbeer was the greatest thing I'd ever.
I don't think they're
put
doing
in my
the
mouth.
same butterbeer this time though.
Yeah, no, I'll never know what they did to it. Like,
Yeah, no. Whenever I did the watch all the movies for like 24 hours, and they had butterbeer. Holy fuck! It was fucking amazing. It was unfortunately like $6 a fucking glass.
Yeah.
So, but it was really fucking
They
good.
probably make a lot of money during that.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. All right, new beer before
Sounds good.
new section.
Because this is going to get crazy.
New beer, new you.
New beer, new topic. Anyone else need a beer while I'm
No, I've got this hangover
Fucking
going.
lightweights.
That I'm trying to fucking.
He's nursing his hangover. right
Yeah,
now.
you better be. All right.
If we're doing this like all fucking night long again, I gotta fucking just let me start where I
Slow
need to
roll.
start, okay?
Slow roll. You do you, bro.
I have to be at work at
15,
noon tomorrow. I think.
47 hours
Oh, he's
from
got
now.
to be, yeah, like 15.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was going to say. God damn it.
I mean, I stayed up. So drunk me decided to watch the Pacific again last night.
God
which
damn
drunk
it!
me-
Yeah, that's how you know Tony's drunk is when he's watching the fucking Pacific. If you
Okay.
hear crying in Tony's room, it's because he's gotten shit faced and is watching the Pacific.
So you were talking about the, like, afterbirth of Saving Private Ryan and
Band of Brothers.
And
See, no,
Band of
I
Brothers.
switched back and forth. I haven't finished
Well, that is
Pacific
the
again
Pacific.
yet, so before I can watch Band of Brothers again, I go back and forth.
That's not the order they go. What are you doing?
No, I watch. I finish the Pacific, then I watch Band of Brothers, then I finish the Pacific, and then I watch Band of Brothers. This is how I do. Okay.
it's too much.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay.
It's. I'm gonna be upset, and I'm gonna watch War. Okay.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of war in the Pacific, bro. It's mostly them just like meeting whores in Australia.
That's an episode.
It makes them cry every time, though. It's very hard.
Hey, I love Australian whores. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, let me click some shit, you fucking bitch. Oh, fuck me.
Did you break it?
I think I touched a thing.
Okay, so let's see what you touched.
Yeah, let's just fucking...
Now, if Margot Robbie wants to be an Australian whore in my pants, I don't know where I'm going with that.
It felt like you had a direction.
I was. There was I just really like the idea of Margot Robbie being one of the Australians in the Pacific. That would have been really cool. But I think she might have been 12 when they filmed that.
That probably would have been a bad idea.
That probably would not have been good.
Yeah, let's keep that thought to ourselves.
Yeah, we're way to ourselves. It wasn't even my thought. It was James.
Yeah, that's totally what it was. It was Archer's. It was totally Archer's.
Archer. Clean it up.
Right? He's got a mouth on him, man.
Fucking Archer, man.
All right, saved and opening a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just make it easier.
Yeah, that sounds like fucking. It was
let's not.
The fast, easy way.
Yeah, stop touching it bad. Touch it good.
Now that the mouse clicks things correctly,
that sounds really.
It's problematic for me because I got used to it clicking things incorrectly.
It's
and so when I move the mouse,
problematic.
Shut up.
Speaking of clicking things,
yeah.
I've been playing 4v4 competitive team deathmatch on Overwatch.
Oh, how are you liking that?
They just introduced it.
Oh, man.
I have only been playing Torb.
Mm-hmm.
It's been stupid.
No, me and a friend of mine used to play like 3s and 6s were our favorite. It's just 3v3 or 6v6 on those tiny little maps.
Yeah.
6s were more fun, to be honest. But just the chaos that goes on when you're
4v4
just doing pure deathmatch is so much fun.
But yeah, I've been just playing competitive team deathmatch and only playing Torb.
Right.
And with his rework, he's really gross, actually.
Yeah.
That's what I always loved about like Halo SWAT. It's there's no shields. You shoot them in the head, they fucking die, and they instantly respawn someplace else.
Well, that's the thing about Overwatch is when you play like 6v6, you have the room to do like a Winston and a Mercy, right? Or a Pharah and a Mercy, or an anything and a Mercy.
Yeah.
And literally just... You can make creations like, you know what's great with Lucio? A fucking Reaper. And so you either have these 6 DPS characters or these tiny little combinations go out and try and counter whatever they're interacting with. And
or you can just be straight
Moira's
up
a brutal
Moira is so brutal.
I was say, you can just straight up be a dick and go full tanks.
Yeah.
And just sit there like, you don't come in our room.
Yeah,
you just die if you come in our room.
You can have 5 tanks, but if you if they're all like huddled in a room and you throw a Junkrat and a Pharah on the other team, they're all dead.
The last match I played, we were in Dorado, right? And so it's me on Torb. Somebody's playing Brigitte. I think we had a Widowmate. No, it was a Hanzo and something else. I can't remember what the fucking fourth person was. And where point B is in Dorado, right before it gets to the central room or whatever.
Yeah.
We're on this little tiny ledge above that. And there's an entrance to the front and the back. I'm in the back, set up turret. Brigitte's in front of me with her shield, and the shield is just big enough to only be big enough for that ledge that we're on. And then like Hanzo's between us, and they're like rushing us with like Widowmakers and McCrees, and we're just like taking them out. We're just like, come up here and get us. Like come up here and try and take us down.
I dare you.
4v4 Overwatch deathmatch is probably one of my new favorite things, just because I can play Torb and unabashedly not feel bad about it.
Right.
I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here and click heads and drop turrets. Let's do this. All right, we got video games to talk about. Let's jump into that.
Video games.
Level 2, video game news.
Hey, adventurers, welcome back to the show. All right, so normally when we do video game news, we choose 3 main topics of the week, and that's how we kind of dissect and get into it. This week we have 2 big topics with subtopics.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to break down. The first thing is
topical.
It's very topical. Absolutely very topical.
Like a fine cream.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so the first thing we're going to be talking about is the Nintendo Direct that happened this week. And it was a purely Super Smash Brothers focused Nintendo Direct. This is supposedly the final...
Would it just be Smash Brothers Direct at that point?
It's Nintendo Direct, but it's like subtitle Smash Brothers. It's not even Smash Brothers. It should just be subtitle the director of the Smash Brothers game just giving you presents.
Yeah. So this is supposed to be the last Smash Brothers Direct before the game comes out.
Right.
And everybody, of course, was really excited. They're like, all right, so there's going to be a couple more announcements. Are we getting Waluigi finally? Like, that's the one thing that everybody's kind of been holding.
They're still waiting. I feel like they're going to wait till after the game comes out. Just
so
to
every
fuck with
Nintendo
people.
Direct they've done for Super Smash Brothers has been very well received.
Yeah.
Like, there's been tons of information like, yeah, we can't wait. Yeah, fighting game community totally on board. Let's do this. This one came out and everybody kind of went,
It was weird.
Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we're going with this. So let's break down some of the things that happened. First off, Waluigi not in the game.
Not in the game.
Despite every fan's request.
Yet.
We know that Ken from Street Fighter was included.
Ken from Street Fighter, which is it's just Ryu with a white boy skin.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Incineroar from the Pokemon franchise.
See, I had the hardest time finding out who Incineroar was.
Yep, that's who that is. And then a bunch of the stuff they were talking about was like DLC. One of the new characters that was announced was Piranha Plant.
Piranha Plant will be the first DLC character.
That was the one that really pissed
How do you
everybody
even
off.
play as a fucking Piranha Plant?
Well, okay, so it's Smash Brothers. They'll figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, obviously
it gets
they're playing
legs
in the
and walks
game.
around.
Like,
yeah, no. Like, I bet you Piranha Plant will be okay. They got the duck and dog from Duck Hunt to be not only viable but a great Smash Brothers character. I'm thinking Piranha Plant would be a little more simple than that.
Right. So that was the thing that kind of pissed everybody off. Everybody on the internet kind of flipped their shit the moment Piranha Plant got announced because they were like, so no Waluigi, but we're getting a fucking plant for DLC?
Right.
Like,
And I mean, you know what? I mean, fuck Waluigi. I want some like Bowsette in my Smash Brothers, but
expect it to happen.
Here's my point about what I saw at the Nintendo Direct conference was they showed actual versus gameplay inside of Smash Brothers as if the game was almost done, which it apparently is.
Yeah.
And it looked really fun. It looked like classic Smash Brothers through and through, but with exciting new characters. They played Incineroar. They played all the both Belmont brothers. They played the new Fire Emblem characters, and they all looked awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
And there's a lot of interesting new mechanics that have been added to it.
Yes.
Like spirit battles. So you can get like these spirits in the game that are like characters in the game, and then those characters translate to powers in the game. I don't know. It's a really complex system that I want nothing to do with.
No, it's super weird, and I guarantee you, like most items in Smash Brothers, they will be turned off immediately when playing competitively, but they add a fun dynamic to just living room play sessions. They really do.
And so we know that they're going to be getting new amiibos to reflect those new characters. We know that there's going to be their adventure mode called the World of Light. So that's their, you know, I guess single player story mode that they're doing.
Yeah, and it's so bad. Like in the last Smash Brothers for the Wii U, it was kind of like a long game board as if you were playing Mario Party.
Yeah.
And you just kind of unlock things as you move along the board. And that was super boring. And all the fans really hated that because it was the only way to unlock all of the powers that no one was ever going to use for all the different characters. But it was the only way to get that content for the game. Right. So people just straight up cheated around it. Yeah. Because it would have taken hundreds of hours. But, you know, I hope they do better this time.
We know that when playing Super Smash Brothers online, 2 players can team up on one Nintendo Switch system and take on other teams.
Ooh, I like that.
That's a little co-op thing that they're doing. Of course, smartphone features. The weird shit Nintendo does, right?
Well, what is it?
This is for their voice chat in Battle Arenas.
Oh yeah, they're still stupidly broken. Requires you to use your cell phone voice chat.
Yep, they're gonna be doing that.
So I'm
by the way,
angry
I
about
can't
this,
wait
okay?
for someone to yell at me in Korean. Let me turn my phone on while I play Smash Brothers online.
Yeah, let me
for
tell
all the people who have ever done that.
The next feature has possibly the best name that one could come up with for anything. Everybody who competes online in Super Smash Brothers will need to create a unique Smash tag. That's what it's called.
Ooh.
Maybe they didn't think this term through.
I've had a Smash tag for years. Am I right?
Yeah, that's a pretty horrible fucking way to put your
I'll
your
show
username.
you my Smash tag. Like
Right,
this could not be
there's
worse.
some adult parties I go to. We play a game called Smash Tag.
Yeah,
I have gone
exactly
to adult parties that were called the Smash tag.
There you go. Spectator mode, so you can watch other people play. That's important, obviously, when you're watching competitive gaming.
Yeah.
Overwatch is just now adding that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, after this, of course, you can do like custom battle arenas where you can like set up a queue for people to come and play. Basically, you set up mini tournaments using those kind of things.
Yeah.
There's a ton of new content they basically announced during this. It just felt like at the end of it, people were kind of going, so up until this point, we loved every announcement that you've made, and this one just sounds horrible.
Well, I mean, I don't...
But to be fair, they're really angry about one stupid thing and not looking at the 5 million other great things that are being put in the game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like,
well, you can have a wonderful, beautiful sundae that's made of all your fucking favorite toppings, but if there's one kernel of shit, it ruins the whole fucking thing.
No, but see that, and that is not this case. That is the case in what we're going to talk about next, but not in the case of Nintendo. I don't think there was any really bad announcements. I think there were announcements on where the game is going, which were fine, and announcements on what they're adding to it, which was fine. Mm-hmm. What they did not do is announce the thing that all the what a giant group of Reddit fans had been clamoring for. But I feel like we're going to get there.
I mean, it's an eventuality.
Right. The reaction to Smash Brothers was never negative. It was never like, well, I'm not buying this game now. At the very most, it was, well, I guess I'm still buying this game.
Yeah.
Like that was the harshest reaction I felt that could have come out of
fine,
the Nintendo
I guess.
It's like, well, I was already going to buy this, and I'm still gonna, but I really would have liked to have been excited today.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's get into full-on disappointment. Our next topic, our big
We're
topic.
not going into my bedroom.
It's the disappointment village. It's what Tony calls his room.
We're going to be talking about BlizzCon 2018 that was this weekend, which is weird to say because normally we record on Mondays. I would be like, it was this past weekend. But no,
it happened.
It happened. It
recently.
While we're recording this, it's actively ending.
Yes, it's actively ending.
It should have ended a while ago.
So we got a ton of stuff to jump into here. I saved kind of the bigger topics for last. A lot of these starting ones we don't really need to comment on too much. Mm-hmm. Right now, on Battle.net, until November 18th, Destiny 2 is free.
Just the base game.
Base game, log in.
No DLCs. If you want the DLCs...
Literally nothing. Literally not. Like the game is free, and then when you start playing it, you're like, oh, I guess I can't do anything with people.
Yeah.
No, you can still do PvP. That's available because any of the updates.
But don't they have weapons you don't have access to? Like a lot of weapons you don't have access to.
Yeah, you can do that.
So why would you even want to do that?
Because the base game weapons are still fucking viable weapons. They're still fine because your power level doesn't matter in PvP. It's just your skill at that point. Right. And some of the weapons do help you if you're unskilled, but what the fuck ever.
Right.
What I'm saying is that Bungie's did something that they didn't do for Destiny 1, they're doing with Destiny 2, which is if you bought just the base game, you do get quality of life improvements. You do get new weapons and armor things that were added into the game. In fact, just because I wouldn't play this on PC the other day to see like what like how does it play now after like Forsaken's come out. I don't have Forsaken, I just have the base game, and I'm still getting weapons and armor that are Forsaken shit. Like those are things that can drop just in the thing. The loot pool is smaller than the full amount of weapons that are available.
Right.
So I can't get the raid weapons and things like that because I don't have that content, but I can get weapons that would be found in the open world anyway.
Yeah.
They just added it to that loophole. So they've made these quality of life improvements that they didn't do in Destiny 1. Destiny 1 was very much if you don't buy the newest content, you're fucked and you can't play with your friends pretty much.
Right.
This is the whenever new maps come out, you get them. Yeah. It's not based on it. You had to buy the DLC to get new maps. No, everybody gets them.
Right.
So this is when people say, "Oh, it's just the base game." I'm like, yeah, but they also made it to where if you spend $60, like you enjoyed it, you can spend $60 and get all 3 of the fucking expansions. Like you buy, or I think it's $40. You buy Forsaken, and it comes with the other 2 now.
Yeah,
so,
that's what they did. They made the base game free, and then you can pay the price of not even the full price of a normal AAA game and get the rest of the content.
Yeah,
which they should have done before they released the expansion, in my opinion. But
oh no, they hugely fucked up the first almost month of the release of Forsaken because they're like, if you don't buy all the expansions, you can't play this.
Right, but then doing it now, I appreciate it, but I'm not going to participate.
Right.
I just don't have a good reason.
For a lot of people, it's a fucking free game.
Yeah, no lie. It really is.
It's at the cost of free.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent story, and you know what?
It's at the cost of free, and it's a really great game to play through.
Say that the single player story is worth it for the cost of free.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. No, it was. For me, the single player story was worth it for $60. It was because it's a very good first person shooter with a very good story.
Yeah.
It is unfortunately what we were expecting with the the rest of the in-game content wasn't there.
Yeah, what you're going to get is you're going to get an incredibly solid first-person shooter with wonderful shooting mechanics that you go through the
beautiful
whole story.
Skyboxes.
And you go through the whole story, and you get to the end, and you're like, oh, I wonder what happens next. That I feel like the story didn't finish.
Yeah.
Do I? Oh, there's where I put my credit card in.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on from Destiny, Hearthstone's getting a new expansion. It's a troll-based expansion. At this point, just expect more expansions for Hearthstone every time there's a BlizzCon. I mean,
well, okay, so let me say this from the perspective of someone who's played a lot of Magic the Gathering online lately.
Me too.
The thing about Hearthstone...
Y'all should do work at work, by the way.
No, okay, like work at work.
I'm installing a new internet connection at our company tomorrow for reasons.
Yeah, work is work, and we do work at work, but we're not always working at work, all right?
It seems like you're never working at work.
Well, no, it just... we work, okay? So here's the thing. Hearthstone was in this place where the fans were like, we want X, Y, and Z. Can you please give us this? It's a CCG. It needs these features. And Blizzard was like, we're feature complete. We're pretty much where we are. We're good. Mm-hmm. Everyone can chill out. We're going to release when we're going to release. We're going to release new stuff. We're going to figure it out as we go for it. Mm-hmm. Magic the Gathering Online comes out. A month later, Hearthstone is like, look at all this shit you asked for that we're giving you. Here's all the things that Magic the Gathering Online gave you a month ago, but we're giving it to you too. Also, here's some... We need how many? We don't... Just go play Magic the Gathering Online, guys. Like, we can't compete with this shit. Literally, they have 35 years of fucking CCG experience that we do not hold a candle to.
Hearthstone, I played extensively for quite a while during the time of the first few expansions.
Right, so you understand how limited it is.
Right, but that was the reason that I played it, is because I was a person who played Magic the Gathering, and I reached a point during my experience playing Magic the Gathering that I was so bogged down by all the optional rules. I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want.
Yeah, no. Every time
Okay.
a new pack came out, it added new, more complicated rules that you had to memorize and combat against, and had come with new strategies. Like, how do I deal with this creature because it has this new ability that my other ones can't stop now?
Let me ask you guys a question real quick. Did either of you ever draft?
No.
Okay, so
what is draft for our audience?
Okay, so for the audience, what you do in a draft, and this is something I'm actually just becoming familiar with, is you open for a standard draft, and I may not even be using the terminology right, but you open 15 packs of 15 boosters, and these are your boosters, and you take your booster and you look at it and you decide which card you want to keep, and then you pass one. You take one of those 15 cards, you pass 14 to your left. Someone does the same to you, and it's a circle. So everyone at the table just opened fucking a ton of cards, and you all pass them around until everyone's made a deck, and then you play. So this is drafting. This is using the Magic framework that has existed for so long to create a deck out of whole cloth that you have to compete against other people following the same rules. This would be impossible in Hearthstone.
Yeah.
It just couldn't exist. And under the Magic framework, under the legacy of how many cards there are and how many strategies there are, this is not only doable, but frankly doable for me, who, while I've been playing Magic since I was in high school, I still kind of consider myself a beginner. So I understood this concept and I started using it, and it's been amazing. And people have been asking Hearthstone for a draft for a long time, and they're like, we're not going to give away our cards. We just don't have that many. And Magic has all of the cards. So they're just like, yeah,
they seriously have like 30 years worth of cards.
Draft mode. Here's 500,000 different cards. Just fucking go wild.
Yeah. So, kind of getting back on track here. So, Hearthstone is getting a new expansion. They're trying to get out expansions as fast as they can so they can become tournament viable the way that Magic the Gathering is. So you can do
which it is in beta, by the way.
Right. So, it's a work in progress, essentially. So, other fun things that were announced at BlizzCon. Overwatch Lego sets were announced.
Yeah,
we knew they were coming. We finally saw them.
Yeah, one of them had leaked beforehand, and it was like, cool. I think it was Bastion, and we went, cool. It even has the bird.
Lego Bastion, that's the best. I love it. Yeah.
So the only weird thing is it sounds like they're going to be coming around January 1st is when they're going to be dropped. And I was like, man, you're going to miss that Christmas window for Overwatch?
That's a weird date. Yeah.
Like, that seems a little bit weird to
Why
me.
January 1st? Why not either early December or late March.
Right?
Yeah, that's the time it seems like it would make the most sense.
Yeah.
I don't know when Legos are popular. I have no idea.
Warcraft 3 Reforged. All right, that's our next thing. Moving on from Legos.
All right, so the only thing I know about this is that Warcraft 3 is coming out again.
So for all of our legacy listeners who love and appreciate one of our past hosts, Lash, this Warcraft 3 vanilla announcement is the sound of 1,000 lashes clapping.
Yeah, no, I'm super happy with this. Like, I like Warcraft. Like, I didn't like World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft's stupid bad. I don't care.
You didn't like the MMO.
Yeah, I don't like the MMO. I have no interest in that.
But here's where Tony might
Warcraft.
get angry.
Yeah, well, where he might. Okay, here we go.
Possibility Tony might get angry.
Tony may be upset by this.
So what they're doing with Warcraft 3 Reforged is they're rebalancing the game. They're doing changes to basically make it more competitive again.
Okay.
They are reskinning the game because it's very old and out of date.
So old. The art is all just obnoxiously angular.
No, just
It's
like
going to be
it's
a
updating
little
the graphics.
bit
That's fine.
more in tune with the way World of Warcraft looks.
Right.
The cartoonization
because it's literally
of it,
where
fine.
World of Warcraft came from, and that's the IP.
And that's what
now.
they're doing. So they're doing all this. Now, by the way, if you have Warcraft 3 and the Frozen Throne, I believe is the expansion, you can play against people playing Warcraft Reforged. All those new rules and everything, updates. You don't have to buy the new game if you don't want to.
Okay,
So somewhere in my garage, I have the CD of Warcraft 3.
Right.
So I need to buy a CD drive for my computer.
Or you just...
I feel like
doesn't even have a slot
No, except
for
for
it.
on Battle.net, you can literally just put in your code for any game like Diablo 2, and then you
Yeah,
permanently
but I don't have that code anymore. I have
then
the
you're fucked.
disc.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know where my box for my Warcraft 3 CDs went.
Okay.
That's been in the trash for very
14
long.
years ago.
So, but if you have Warcraft 3 and the Frozen Throne, you can play against people that have Reforged. It will use the new rule sets. You just won't have the updated graphics, updated cinematics. They're going to be updating the cinematics in the game.
Cool.
That's part of it. Now, some people are a little bit worried about the next section, that they are actually going to tweak portions of the game and story to make it more in line with the lore of World of Warcraft.
That's fair. I don't care about that. That's fine.
You know, like, for somebody like me who actually I really like the lore of Warcraft, and that's one of the problems with World of Warcraft was it got added too much for me for a game that I wasn't interested in. So this makes sense. I get it. World of Warcraft is their baby now. It's the fucking moneymaker.
Yeah.
So we can edit history and just fix it a little bit to be more in line with what Mighty Blizzard wants it to be. I mean, they're being revisionists, but okay, it's fine.
Well,
That's just the world we live in now.
Don't
God
even
damn it.
get us started on the World of Warcraft movie. So
Right. So, I mean, some people are a little on the fence about this when they're like, you're changing my Warcraft thing. But honestly, if you look at the trailer, it looks beautiful.
it does. It looks nice, and I
that's
have
one thing that I've always been able to say about World of Warcraft as somebody who's never really enjoyed the game itself. I always thought it was pretty.
Yeah,
Like, from the
I've
get-go,
never
I was
had
like,
a
I
problem.
really-
Look, I played.
It's very stylized, and that stylization has actually allowed it to hold up longer than most MMOs.
Yes.
Because if you look at something like
it's
Lineage or some shit like that.
look at
Ultima,
EverQuest.
It looks old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's still holding up now. And, as someone who rated end-level World of Warcraft from from day one vanilla all the way through Cataclysm,
It's a very dark time in your life.
It was a fat time in my life. But, I mean, yeah, you get from the beginning to the end, and you love it. And I love the idea of them going back and reappropriating Warcraft 3, which was my gateway into World of Warcraft, and making it all line up better. That sounds fun.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so what else was announced at BlizzCon? Overwatch's 29th hero, Ash of the Deadlock Gang, was shown.
How much did we see? We got a little intro. We got a trailer.
Well, no, she was in the McCree reunion, which is McCree's one-shot video, and then we got her intro video about her.
Did we get... Okay, so I haven't watched it yet. Does it show off all of her powers? Is it that video?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
shows off her powers, shows off her summon, which is her ultimate. She's the first character to have a summon for an ultimate.
Okay.
It's Bob, her robotic butler.
Hey, what about May? May summons a robot.
That's not really...
that she wears on her back.
I don't think that robot's sentient.
It's not the same. I mean, hey, it has heart eyes.
It has heart eyes. But
if you had heart eyes, I would call you sentient.
Thank you. I appreciate that. She's a very high mechanical...
Until you get those heart eyes, you're not.
Yeah, I know. She's a very high mechanical skill character, which did turn some people off. Because everybody saw the character, the design. She's kind of this cool, like... Western / she's like a Western steampunk kind of looking character.
If I'm gonna make a really harsh comparison, I'm gonna say she looks almost exactly like a Battle Right character. She looks very similar to a Battle Right character, and I'll show you all after the show. It looks really similar,
right?
But for real, like it looks like a fun character to play.
It does, absolutely. And I think that everybody, because I was in Discord when the announcements were going on and watching, a bunch of people from the Lone Star Vanguard, we were all chatting with each other, and everybody saw the character and was like, "We are all Ash mains." The internet was basically like, we are all Ash mains now. This character looks so cool. It's got
hardcore
long range rifle, short range shotgun, can shotgun jump, has dynamite, has a summon that's a robotic butler. Everything about this character screams, we want this. And then like Jeff Kaplan's like, so this is a high mechanical skill character. And I feel like I could feel the erections of Blizzard fanboys just go down all at once.
Everyone was like, what? Widow only? Like, what are you even talking about?
You're like, what? I have to aim and shoot things?
What do you mean I have to aim? I want just Lucio, like, I just live in a circle, and as long as they don't die, things happen
Whereas, like,
around
Linkser
me.
from the Outlaws was like, I think I'm an Ash main now, and I'm like, I cannot fucking wait for this. Like, watching Linkser as Ash is going to be so good.
That'd be so much fun.
So, yeah, that was just the one character announcement. Of course, there's been a ton of Overwatch announcements that were made during BlizzCon, because there's been a ton that's already...
Weirdly, I'm more interested in the Legos.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we should get into the two fat things that we need to discuss here for BlizzCon.
Okay.
The smaller one is that the World of Warcraft Classic was announced. I think that's what it's called.
It's officially announced.
Vanilla.
Finally. Yeah.
So
Vanilla WoW.
So this is a specific server that you can go on to for World of Warcraft, and it just plays like the original.
It literally plays exactly like the original.
No, they said there are updated mechanics and certain quality of life changes they felt were important.
But the experience values are the same, and all the starting quests are the same, all the zones are the same. It is all original WoW. You're not flying around. You're a Tauren.
Now, before
undead.
We get into this discussion, we have to mention that in the history of Blizzard, they have actually taken down people's vanilla WoW servers that have existed because they were going to be building out their own. They were protecting their IP.
We've talked about this about a year ago. Yeah. Blizzard said, "Hey, this is literally just we want to. We love that you're wanting to play the original version,
right?
But we legally cannot allow you to do. We cannot let you do this. Once we found out, we have to stop you,
right?
As if we didn't know, you'd have been fine, but now we know, so you can't.
So everybody that has asked for vanilla WoW is finally getting it." Right? Everybody should be hyped. Everybody should be excited.
Yeah, most people said that, like, hey, we'll still pay for our WoW subscription. Like, we just want to play the original version.
Everybody on the BlizzCon floor should have been jizzing in their pants that vanilla WoW is now out. But then, what happened, Hector?
Then they announced their new Diablo game.
Nope. We are not even there yet.
We're not there yet. What are you talking about?
What we're talking about is the fact that everybody finally got what they wanted. They begged for years and years and years. They wanted vanilla WoW.
No, you're 100% right. Like, and then I could have predicted this before it happened. I've been predicting it since I saw a friend of mine, Lash, play a vanilla WoW server for hours and hours at a time. Every time that Blizzard was like, look, we have to take this down, but we're going to do it ourselves, I was like, don't do that. Everyone will hate that. And then they made it, and everyone was like, yay, wait. It took me like a week to get to level 20 in the Barrens. I don't have time for that. Literally. And here's the game. The game is like, I can't wait for you to spend a week to get to level 20 and then get into the Barrens.
Yeah. Everybody wanted vanilla WoW until they got vanilla WoW, and they're like, oh yeah, I forgot this game was bad. Why were you doing this?
Okay, so like when I started playing World of Warcraft, we used to talk about the cancer that was Baron's chat. And what we just got was a vocal minority of World of Warcraft fans saying, I miss those days. Having the company reinstate those days and them going, oh, that blew. I hated that.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
You get what you wish for. Like they're literally giving you exactly what you want.
As somebody who played both Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14, there were times where I played Final Fantasy 14 and I went, man, this is so much easier than Final Fantasy 11. Like, I don't lose XP when I die. Like, this is the weaker version of Final Fantasy. And then when I really thought about it, I was like, Would I go back to that though?
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Would I want to go back to that 20 hours of grinding and like not getting a party and fucking?
I also played Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14, and I've never once in my life missed Final Fantasy 11 because Final Fantasy 11 did everything in its goddamn power to fuck me up the ass.
That's very true.
And Final Fantasy 14 was my friend.
It was.
I love Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 11. I'm glad that I'll
tell you something that totally summarizes this as a Final Fantasy 14 player. I recently emailed. So when the Final Fantasy 14 1.0 came out, I bought the collector's edition. And when you buy the collector's edition,
you're talking about the first version before they fixed it.
1.0, before it was fixed.
I played that one too. I'm right there with you.
Bought the collector's edition, and in the collector's edition, you get a little piece of paper you get to mail away for. That basically you get a birth certificate for your character.
Right.
They make you a custom birth certificate for your character, and they send it to you. I mailed out for it. Never got it. Cut to 2018. I think this game came out in 2012, I want to say.
Yeah, I was already here in Austin. I played it in my living room one night.
I emailed Square Enix's customer support, and I was like, hey, I never got that birth certificate thing. And they're like, hey, we need you to just take a couple pictures of your collector's edition, and we'll go ahead and just ship one out to you. Final Fantasy 14 is my friend.
Yeah, it is. Like, you're not wrong.
Final Fantasy 11 would have been like, oh, you didn't get it? Well, fuck you then.
Yeah.
Like, we're actually going to take things from your character then.
Oh, man. So Final Fantasy 14 1.0. Like, okay, so I was what would you would call a conscientious objector? Like, this game was coming out, and one of my best friends bought the game, bought the collector's edition, so which meant, like you said, he had an extra copy of 1.0, which he gifted to me because I played Final Fantasy 11 with him. We were playing the game that opening night, going through the intro, and I'm like, what the actual fuck? And he's like, I don't even know, dude. Let's go play Call of Duty. And we never played it again.
Right.
And then 14, A Realm Reborn came out, and we started playing then, and that was wonderful. Yeah. But, like, there was, like, a year and a half to 2 years in between where we were just like, what the fuck was that?
This all ties back into Vanilla WoW.
It does.
Because Vanilla WoW is basically like 1.0 Final Fantasy 14. If somebody was like, man, don't you miss those old days? I was like, no, when there was like actual zoning or anything.
So here's my question. Here's my question. For all those people who are about to play Vanilla WoW, do the Barons look like they looked in Vanilla WoW? Like, is the art... Are they rolling back the art too?
Yeah, no.
Does it look like a pixelated 480p boar is attacking your 480p undead hunter in the Barrens? Is that what you're nostalgic for? Because you know what it looks like? It looks like 7 pixels fighting 8 pixels. And they're like, they're probably fucking or fighting. They're doing one of those things.
So I'm going to grab a beer. Well, I think we're just going to put a pin in this and say that Vanilla WoW, not good. Why would you want this? And we now know as a society we don't want this.
We don't want to go back to when we had to try harder.
And if that was the biggest... That's not even the biggest problem that came out of BlizzCon. Hector, why don't you take over and tell us what the biggest flaw of BlizzCon was?
All right, so BlizzCon, so they did this whole thing with Vanilla WoW, and they're like, hey, don't you all want this? And some people said yes. And they're like, hey, do you want new Overwatch stuff? And we're like, of course we did, thank you. But, I mean, don't you have anything good? It's BlizzCon. We knew we were looking
we know you're going to give us a new character or map or
we're looking for another character. We're looking for another map. I'm glad that we have those. We're grateful. That's great. Okay, so you're going to show us some, what? Because we've been, all year long, we've been saying, hey, are we going to see Diablo 4? Are we going to have some Diablo 4? And you came out and you said, no Diablo 4.
We were all like, hey, it's time for Diablo 4 to talk.
But there will definitely be a Diablo announcement. And we're like, ooh.
Another expansion, maybe?
Diablo announcement. Let's do it. And so we get all the way into BlizzCon, like the end of BlizzCon. And I'm talking like yesterday. Right now it is Sunday. I'm talking like Saturday. We get all the way into BlizzCon. And they're like, here's the Diablo thing. It's a mobile game.
Yeah.
And how do you, our audience, believe that the audience at BlizzCon reacted to that?
Boo.
They probably booed. Okay.
What's that? Hold on. What's that old statement? Something like it went over like a wet fart in church.
Yeah, like a wet fart in an elevator. Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like that's the general reaction the internet had to that.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, and here's our new Diablo game." Yeah, no, those are Android Intel graphics. Yeah, why? It's on a cell phone.
Right. So why
is it on a cell phone?
Why is it on a cell phone? Will it ever come to PC? No. Boo. What? You don't have phones? Ah.
So let's break this down. Like, there's a lot of kind of ground to cover. We don't have a lot of time to talk about this. So the internet's reaction was fast and fierce, and everybody was very angry and upset.
It was.
This is a Diablo mobile title.
Yes.
Is there any world in which them announcing a Diablo mobile title actually could have gone over well? I'm going to say yes. I have a theory, but I want to hear your answer first.
I'm with you. I think they could have spun this in the right direction if A, they hadn't announced it on the main stage at BlizzCon, and B, they had just spun it with a little more creativity. Like, we want more people to, instead of being like, here's a hardcore experience for our fans, 10-cent Diablo.
Okay, let me give you
So
my
I think
idea.
that, like, this is an announcement that should not have happened at BlizzCon. This is a press release. By the way, we made a mobile game.
Right.
Cool. Here's the
Right.
link, and that's it.
I'm going to go one step further and say that you wouldn't have done it this year, but
Right.
there is a way to announce this at BlizzCon that people would be on board for. Follow me on this magical journey.
Okay, I feel like we're going to massively change this game as well along the way.
No, I'm not going to change the game. I'm just going to say
It might be fine.
I'm going to say the game's fucking how it is, and that's what you have. Let's not have announced Diablo Mobile
Okay.
this year.
Immortal.
Let's Immortal Mobile.
Yeah, and we'll see how immortal it is.
And let's wait until next year when we have a Diablo 4 announcement.
Sure.
Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to come out on stage at BlizzCon, and we're going to make this the year of Diablo. And we're like, all right, motherfuckers, Diablo 4, here it is. Watch the trailer. Get an erection. Let's go. During this announcement, while this hype's happening, everybody's like, holy fuck, Diablo 4, this is so awesome. You say, we've also made a Diablo mobile title that will tell the story between 2 and 3. That's an actual fact. That's how it is right now.
Right.
And let's throw something in there like, and if you sign up and start playing it, maybe some of your gold, maybe some of your loot or something from when you're playing our mobile title will hang out with your character in Diablo 4.
Done. 100% done.
Yeah, it's way better.
I'd be playing that mobile Diablo game right now. I wouldn't even have come to this podcast. I'd just been playing that game.
Right. That's exactly.
No, I mean honestly,
all you
that's
need to
a
do.
better option. They could have been like, hey, and also it's available right now. So while you're waiting 6 months for your character,
Y'all remember
for the game of Diablo 4 to come out,
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys remember
can
more than
go
I
ahead
do.
and start earning gold and items in your game for when it releases right now.
It doesn't even have to be golden items in the sense of like maybe that'll throw off the economy. But say things like if you play our mobile game, you will unlock pets that you will get in Diablo 4. That word right there. Pets.
Done. Yes.
Done.
Pet.
I will play your mobile title till the end of time. to
Yeah.
get farm
The
your
Murloc
pets.
makes a cute noise. Gimme. Yes.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, no,
come on.
there was a
Come
pet
on.
that I believe that you'd only get from going to BlizzCon this year, and I'm pissed because I want the fucker and I can't have it.
Yeah. No, and okay, so they could have done so many things with this. They could have done infinite things with this. It didn't even have to be a Diablo title. They just could have had to have something substantial to add to their library and then be like, oh, also here's this mobile game you might like.
Right, but
that would have been fine.
But find a way to tie it in and not. The problem is the way that it was presented they presented it as a headlining title at BlizzCon.
On the main stage, they were like, here's our thing, and you're like, thanks, I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like the crowd literally booed them on stage. Like I said, there are ways to spin a Diablo mobile game that would have me excited and want me playing it.
And
they hit all the wrong notes.
And here's the thing that the Reddit is so mad about before the internet community goes like, yeah, but where was all the backlash? Okay, so Reddit compiled a list of the things that Blizzard did immediately after the public backlash, and it was a bad list. They started editing booze out of internet footage, out of BlizzCon footage. They started trying to push advertisements even harder, and they started editing or disabling comments on those advertisements for the thing the fan base was booing. They literally tried to silence the only people who like their games, who came to their conference to like their games, so that their game might be perceived as popular when it was honestly never going to be. Mm-hmm. So it was like a betrayal on top of on top of a disappointment.
Yeah.
And
that's
a bad
look. They said they were
look.
being revisionist earlier. They're literally being revisionist. They were getting rid of.
It was a bad look. It was the worst look.
Yeah.
And it fucking sucks. And
It does.
Honestly, whenever the internet immediately, when they were like, oh, well, it's made by this Chinese company that we partnered with. Which,
Right.
first off, slap in the face to anybody who fucking loves Diablo. Because you're like, oh, Blizzard doesn't even have the fucking time or the energy to actually make this
Right,
game.
we didn't even... Okay, so, and this was the main point in a lot of the Reddit threads that I saw, was, okay, so you guys canceled Titan. You canceled Ghost. You canceled projects fans were salivating for because you said they were not up to Blizzard standards. We can't release this. And then you outsource a Diablo game to a Chinese mobile studio.
That we can instantly went to that mobile studio's catalog and said they literally just reskinned a game they already had.
Yes.
And
Correct.
they're like, no, we made them. It's all new game with all new everything. We're like,
but it's not.
But it's not.
No.
We can literally see that.
It's Pokemon Go. Niantic had a game exactly like Pokemon Go before Pokemon Go came out that very few people were playing, but it's the same fucking game.
Yeah.
It's true.
And that's what we're getting with this Diablo Immortal. And
it's the same fucking thing. Oh, you added 5 features to the 25 that were already there from this other game.
It's not worth it to deny that. You should own it and be like, well, yeah, here's the mobile game, but also here's Diablo 4.
That's what I'm saying. I was going to say, there is a way they could have done this.
They could have. They could have made this fine.
So the thing that they can't go back and fix this, and Diablo 4 isn't ready for them to be announced yet.
No, not at all.
So
no way.
They want people to keep Diablo in people's minds, right? So
people are just
the only way, the cheapest way they could do that is
people are rebuying it for the 3rd time on the Switch. I don't think it's that big of a work.
There is a Switch.
Honestly, why do I need a mobile version of Switch whenever a mobile version of Diablo for my phone whenever I have a Switch that I'm going to play Diablo with?
What year did Diablo 3 come out? 2015, 2016, 2014?
2014, I think. Yeah.
So 2014, Diablo 3 comes out. It's 2018, and there is a special edition of the Switch that you can buy with Diablo art on it that will have Diablo 3 the game on the Switch, and it is sold out.
Yeah, no, I really want one. If I can find one, I'm going to get it.
Why do they need to announce this now? Were they out of Diablo money? Obviously not.
Yeah.
This was a bad time to release
People are really worried this feels like more of an Activision move than a Blizzard
It does.
move.
It feels like a bad move.
Yeah.
Dude,
and you know what? And if we look at,
has been pushing people around for a fucking while now and making some bad choices, but nobody wants to blame Activision. They're like, oh, but since it's Blizzard and Activision, they're two different things. They're obviously Blizzard's choices.
And that's the worst part, is when you really look at the contracts between Blizzard and Activision, Activision shouldn't have much sway over Blizzard.
And every time, Activision has nothing to do with us. They don't even tell us what to do.
And you know what? They're not wrong. But if you look at Activision and Blizzard side by side, and you look at how much money they make, Activision's making fucking almost Rockstar money, and Blizzard is making Blizzard money. Which is not bad money, it's great money, but it's not fucking Activision money.
It's true.
So maybe they are a little bit grass is greener on the other side right now. I don't care to speculate, even though I just did. But I do care to say that this was a bad move, Blizzard, and please do better.
Right. I could hit the undo button on it. Just like straight be like, well, we're just not going to release that now.
All right, well, that's everything
that's
we have.
I can think of to fix at this point.
That's everything we have for video game news this week. If you have any opinions about the things we've been talking about, you can always shoot us an email over at thesurlynerd@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, that is at thesurlynerd, and tell us what you think about BlizzCon. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going to level 3 entertainment news.
And yes, went over like a lead balloon also.
A lead balloon.
Yeah, that's
lead balloon is a good one.
All right, you guys get to talk to the audience for a few.
I still need a beer since, y'all, I asked you whenever you got up, I was like, hey, can you get me a beer as well? And
I was going to pee. I don't need a beer. I just need...
Yeah, okay, I'll just sit here and be entertaining by myself on the internet. I'm going to talk to myself. It's fine. Oh, my head's starting to fucking hurt. This hangover fucking sucks. It's not even like a really like hardcore hangover. It's just one of those like it's evolving from one thing into another.
Is it one of the ones that's like a creeping up on you hangover?
Like I felt tired and just kind of like out of it, and then now I'm like, oh, I'm starting to get a fucking headache. It probably doesn't help that I had like a glass of water and then immediately started drinking more beer.
Yep.
Yeah. God damn, 26-year-old me would be like, yeah, no, that's fine. Like that's what we're doing now. We wake up and drink and we wake up and drink. Like why do you need water ever? And now I'm like...
I woke up and I was like, I want fucking tacos.
I may have made a lot of chicken last night. Oh, I put it in the toaster oven. I ate like a good like half a pound of chicken last night. Oh my god. Yeah, no, I'm super interested in not playing this Diablo game, which sucks because it's like the story of... between 2 and 3, and I like the story of Diablo, I like the mythology, I like the lore, but I don't fucking want to play it on my phone. I want to actually play the fucking game. Like that's Like I want to sit down with a controller and my friends and do all that. I don't like to have to. I hate staring at my fucking phone to play games. I don't play games on my fucking phone. It's irritating as shit to me.
What is?
I don't want to play games on. I don't like playing games on my phone. I don't. I want to play. I want to play a game that is Diablo that takes place between 2 and 3 that gives me that story, that lore.
Right. Well,
but I have zero interest in playing it on my fucking phone.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of the fans and they gave them the opportunity. There at BlizzCon, they were like, "Okay, so this game, this mobile game, will you ever put it on PC?" And they said basically no. And they were met with boos, and the person on stage said, "What? Y'all don't have phones?" And that's not.
I don't like playing games on my fucking phone.
No. And I'm 100% there with you. Like that's not the fucking point, bro. On stage, like I don't want to play a game on my phone. I haven't had a handheld gaming device since I was 9 because I don't appreciate the screen size or the controller size.
Yeah, I don't like. We've got a bunch of fucking 3DSs in the apartment. They're not mine. I borrowed one to try and play a game and went, I don't fucking like this. No. I borrowed a fucking Vita in the apartment to try and play a game and I said, I don't fucking like this either.
No, and it's
not fun for me. There are certain games that are good. Like I love the Room games on my phone, but those are games that require like the fucking accelerometer and shit. And they're very much you need a touch screen device to play this crazy puzzle that we made. Yeah. I'm like, no, that game I totally want to play because it's an interactive environment thing. I liked playing Niantic's Ingress because you had to go places. You had to go places and do things. And if they hadn't made Ingress, Pokemon wouldn't exist. They actually had to have that data, the things that we made, all those points that were put in, came from Ingress.
Yeah, they did,
and they used them in Pokemon. Yeah. That's why there are Pokemon in all these shops.
That's why there are Pokemon dungeons and academies all over the world.
Yeah, because we listed that as a location for a hacking port in Ingress, which I'm glad that Ingress is getting a new version of it. They're taking everything they learned for Pokemon Go and making a new version of Ingress, and we're getting an anime out of it that's going to be like for Netflix. So that's pretty fucking cool.
That seems neat. I mean,
we talked about that a while ago. That was a while ago.
I think the whole thing is that, I don't know, man, there are good ideas in a lot of mobile games, and I think just a lot of people are hindered by the technology.
I get the like. All right, I'm just gonna say this.
Yeah, you save that.
I'm just gonna say it was poo or po because it's P-O because it's the two
P-O.
closest letters that were to me.
Po.
Yeah, no, I just don't fucking. I don't want this. I want to play Diablo. I love playing Diablo. I still play like Diablo on my fucking console.
Oh.
I don't play it on PC because I like that I can get all three of us on one console, all playing Diablo together.
That's the way to do it.
That's fun.
Honestly, yeah.
I don't like sitting there like it was.
I've never once played Diablo 2 by myself.
Diablo 2 was a lot of fun when we went to an internet cafe in Houston, and all of us like put in for like 5 hours. It wasn't very expensive. We were like, you can spend 5 hours for like $15 or whatever because we're only going to play Diablo, and we could sit there and talk to each other. We played it on PC, but we were all in the same fucking line. We could sit there and yell at each other. Yeah. And then we got bored playing Diablo. We're like, okay, now let's all play fucking aliens versus Alien versus Marines or whatever.
And then we'll go get a pizza. Yeah, it was that shit's fucking awesome.
No, and that was great. I play online games. I have to have my headset on. I'm talking to everybody. I hate rolling up with Discord because it's fucking irritating. That's the reason I love Xbox Live. I go, connect with my friend. I can instantly talk to you, and then now we can play the game together. I literally go load join game in progress, and I'm loaded directly into their fucking game.
Discord on my PC is actually the closest analog I've ever had to Xbox Live, just because you can just select a room, and this is where this group of friends is, and then you just move into a room where your friend is and be like, "Hey, I'm playing this game," and they're like, "All right, let's go."
Yeah, no, Discord is good, and it is the best.
It's the best option you have on PC.
Yeah. And Xbox Live is going to be becoming way more involved into PC.
That would be interesting. I'd love to see an Xbox Live system on PC.
They do already have it, but it's based purely on like the Microsoft Xbox Store
right, so you have to be
thing.
playing a Microsoft Store game to get into it.
But we've already seen that Microsoft is going to be bringing basically their entire back catalog to PC of all Xbox and 360 games. So it's going to make it a lot more useful to be using Xbox Live over Discord.
I'm really interested in seeing that. I can't wait for Microsoft to become a bigger player in the PC market.
James has sent me a message apparently while he's outside. I don't know. There's a apparently Lone Star Vanguard made a clan for Destiny 2.
Oh, cute.
I can't join it on fucking Xbox because I'm already part of a clan that's my friend's clan, and that would make me lose drops for the week if I did that.
Well, here's the thing about...
Actually, I could do that today and get drops tomorrow.
Here's the thing about Destiny clans is...
Or Tuesday.
Give me another year, that game won't have any players. It's over.
You think Destiny 2's over?
It's over,
dude. They've gotten a huge... Like, Forsaken fixed the fucking game.
Yeah, no. I understand that the game was made better by the expansion. I'm pretty sure nobody cares. Like, I'm almost positive nobody cares.
The player base has increased.
And I don't doubt that it has, but it's increased recently, and the top 5 games... When you talk about the top 5 games on Steam or Battle.net, you get very different numbers. But you can tell what the most popular games in the world are by taking those 2 platforms and going, who are your best-selling games? Who are your best played games right now?
Yeah.
So you're getting a whole lot of Fortnite. You're getting a whole lot of Dota 2. You're getting a whole lot of Monster Hunter World right now. And you're getting a whole lot of Overwatch and a lot of Diablo because Diablo never goes away.
For some reason. I don't understand why we're still playing Diablo.
Me neither. I don't like
Diablo. I love
Diablo
playing
3.
Diablo, but like... Every time I do a new season, it's the same fucking content.
It really
I play
is.
it over and over again.
And that's what I keep telling my friends. Every time they're like, we're starting new Diablo characters. I'm like, why? But I get it. But, okay, so nowhere on that list is Destiny. Destiny has not broached the top 20 since it came out. And I'm just saying, if it's not going to break out of that, it's dead. It's a dead game.
The thing is, it still has a consistent player base, so it's not fully dead, and it still is making money. And we do know that Destiny 3 is a ways off. Mm-hmm. That we are going to have at least. So we have the current.
I think they should push it even farther. If I'm being honest, I feel like they should.
They can't give up that much that money yet.
They should push Destiny 3 so far that we're like well outside of Anthem range, and just like, hey.
Oh no, it's going to be at least. It's going to be a next gen console.
Right, no, but
release. We already know it's not coming out till like 2020.
Right, so I feel like maybe by 2020, maybe even a little further, but 2020 might be okay. They could be like, "Oh, hey, y'all remember Destiny? We made it way better. Come play again."
Yeah, so
and then I'd be down with that, especially after Anthem.
What we've learned through some leaks, which haven't been verified, they're just leaks, that Destiny 3 is just now starting its actual development.
Okay.
That the guy who was in charge of Destiny 2, Luke Smith, is still with the company and in a high role, but he is not directing the game. He's not overseeing it entirely. That the guy who made Forsaken and all the quality of life changes is in charge of Destiny 2.
The guy who made the game great again.
Yeah, the guy who literally fixed the fucking game.
Right.
He fixed Destiny 1. He fixed Destiny 2.
Why didn't he just make Destiny 3? If he had to come in and fix both games, why don't they just be like, hey, could you just...
What's really fucking pisses me off is, alright, so the guy that was the lead for Destiny 2... his prior work to that was he worked came into Bungie to work on Destiny specifically for the first raid for Vault of Glass, which is a fucking great raid.
Well, Vault of Glass is wonderful.
His qualifications were he played a fuckload of WoW.
That's a good
and he was a writer for Kotaku.
Oh, all right.
No, that's it. He had never worked on a game before. He'd never overseen a game. His work in the gaming industry was as a journalist and someone who played a fuckload, did a lot of raiding in WoW.
But he had a good idea of what a raid should look like.
Yeah,
that's what you need.
Yeah, he had a good idea what a raid should look like, and it created the raiding system for Destiny. And while that raid is good, it is the most basic ass fucking raid you possibly could think of.
Very true.
Especially compared to the most recent raid, which is the one that came up with Forsaken, which is no, this shit's an MMO now. It's fucking complicated. It requires everybody doing exactly what they have to do at the exact right time to be in the exact fucking moment, or you fucking failed again. And it's complicated, and it took him 18, almost 19 hours to beat it the first day.
Oh,
okay,
so while that's appreciable, some of those WoW raids took literally 3 months of work to beat.
Yeah, no, and I get that. Those are.
But then again, those are 40-man raids.
Yeah, and this is 6 people.
Yeah, no,
that is the difference.
So I'm going to give you that one, but I'm just saying, like 18 hours.
No, and that is now the longest one. The previous one was Vault of Glass because nobody knew what level you had to be to go into it. So everybody went in there.
Not as bad as that Final Fantasy 11 one.
Oh, nothing is. Oh, no.
All right, let's jump into this.
I don't even know how we fucking got on that subject. I think it's I don't know.
Meandering.
Yeah. I want to play Diablo and I don't want to play it on my phone.
Sorry.
And yet I signed up for the pre-registration.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course you did. You're an awful piece of shit.
No,
you,
I feel like
or he's just a video game player.
You're encouraging bad behavior.
No, I feel like I should be able to try it and give it an honest opinion other than just.
I know. The thing is, I want to play it. I just don't want to play it on my phone.
Sure.
Like I want a game. That's what I was saying. It's like I want to play the story between 2 and 3. I just want to play it on my couch with my friends, like I played Diablo 3.
If you want to play it on PC, install BlueStacks and call it a day.
But he can play it on his phone and then just be like, "Oh, maybe this was bad on my phone," or "Hey, you know what? I didn't mind this being on my phone."
It just depends on like if it is a free game. Sure. If they were like it's $20, I'm like, nope. Sorry, I'm not going to give it a try for $20.
I'd be less wary of it if it cost $20.
That is true. I would be less wary of it.
Game.
It's true.
If it was like, here's a free Diablo game, it'd be like, gross. That's probably cancer.
Yep.
To me, it already feels like cancer. So that's the reason I'm like, I don't want to pay for it.
Yep. All right, let's do it.
Oh, I need to click it.
Click things.
Entertainment news. Level 3 entertainment news.
Hey, adventurers! Welcome back to the show. So 2 years ago, a show that I very much enjoyed was canceled. It was called Penny Dreadful.
Yeah, it was
Penny
good.
Dreadful.
Yes.
I just finished watching
did you guys
this year.
So you all have seen the final episode of Penny Dreadful and how remarkably heartfelt and warm, but at the same time rushed that
it was very rushed.
Very last episode was.
Yeah.
They were just trying to finish it, but at the same time they were trying to write a eulogy for all the work they'd done.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
See, I remember watching that episode. I don't remember a single thing about it, which is the thing. My problem with Penny Dreadful. I know I actively enjoyed the hell out of that series. I could not tell you what the fuck happened in it at all. I forgot all of it.
I have a couple minor beefs with this show.
Oh, sure.
But I think a lot of those really did come down to the amount of time they had left to film the final season.
Yeah.
All right. So we found out this week, 2 years after Penny Dreadful was canceled, there is a spin-off for Penny Dreadful that's coming called Penny Dreadful City of Angels. And this new series is going to go into Depression-era Los Angeles. It's going to be 1938.
Ooh.
It's going to be heavily infused with Mexican-American folklore and the social tension at the time. So this is going to be a little bit more political than Penny Dreadful itself is going to be.
Sure, but is Ava Green...
That's not going to be in the
going to show me her boobs?
It's not going to happen.
No Evergreen.
All right.
So it's going to be its own unique thing.
What about Timothy Dalton? Can I see his boobs?
Maybe. Yeah, it's a higher percentage chance of some Timothy.
But this will be really interesting. I'm excited about this. A, because it's more Penny Dreadful.
Yeah.
And B, I want to see more Mexican folklore stuff.
Oh, agreed. The idea that we can see some... Okay, so the whole concept of the Penny Dreadful, of the nightmare, the bedtime stories, that scary bedtime stories they were telling people in Victorian England, in Victorian London, in the slums. I'd love to know what that was like in the 30s in Los Angeles. That sounds awesome.
And there's a lot of really cool stuff. They've been talking a lot about the direction it's going to be going in. One of the things they were talking about that I like is that kind of like the original Penny Dreadful, but more so with this new series, is there's really no heroes or villains in the world. There's protagonists and antagonists, but really there's a lot of moral gray area that's covered when you're dealing with monsters.
I love it.
If anything, it sounds more like when you talk about the true evil and the true darkness that these characters will face, it won't be from some wacky Day of the Dead creature that people are expecting. Right. It's probably going to be some shitty ass white people treating Hispanics like shit. That's going to be your not morally gray area. It's going to be this is what happens when you treat people that are not part of your normal society in a certain way.
No, I love that. So far, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm interested in where this is going to go based on where the original Penny Dreadful was. So we basically had Dracula, we had Frankenstein and his monsters, we had the fucking Alan Quartermain. We had all of the characters that existed.
Dorian Gray.
Yeah, Dorian Gray. We had all the characters that were from the books.
Classic literary
There's
monsters.
a lot of
monsters.
Yeah.
During that show, what are we going to have in this one?
Well, there's a lot of very interesting folklore monsters from Mexico from this time that Americans might not be super familiar with. Maybe a few here and there, maybe a couple you recognize, La Llorona, stuff like that. But there's a wealth to draw
If there's
from.
not a Chupacabra, I'm not watching it.
Chupacabra is pretty recent. Okay,
I think maybe we should be the origin of the Chupacabra.
So if we're talking about like, and here's my best example, and everyone take a drink. I'm going to mention The Witcher 3 again.
Right.
But in The Witcher 3, in the first DLC, they did the story of Faust. Like that was just spoilers, even though I'm not going to spoil the plot. It was the story of Faust, but it was the Polish story of Faust, and it's very different from what we get in classical literature, what we get in Shakespeare, and what we get in the United States.
You may have really just sold me on The Witcher because the story of Faust is one of my favorites. I've seen, I've gone to the plays multiple times.
It took you just that.
Jesus Christ, and Heart of Stone is your baby.
Like I've gone to the opera to watch Faust.
Oh.
Like I love the story of Faust.
You were denying yourself wonderful things then. But yeah, so the reason I point that out is because there was a Polish version that they could just take the story of Faust of and just make it their own and make it part of The Witcher. And I feel like they can take the idea of a Penny Dreadful and bring it into early California, early like Mexican California, and take all of that folklore and make it their own and just make something really cool out of it. I'm pretty excited to see what they do.
Interested what's the stylization going to be, because Victorian England and gray was the color palette.
Sure.
And LA during this time was a fuckload of orange groves.
It was basically the West. It was
Yeah, but it wasn't giant buildings. It wasn't these giant old, like, that's the thing about Victorian England. Victorian England is that giant old, these buildings have actually been here for like
you're right.
hundreds
this is
of
the
years
shoot out
kind
of
of
the
shit.
OK Corral like type of West.
Yeah, no, this is LA in the late 30s was, it was a city, but it was nothing compared to like New York City. It was a western city. It was very small.
It was horses. They didn't have running water. They didn't have a place to put their shit when they shit. Like it was the fucking old school West in the 30s. So you had there's a lot to draw from. I feel like it could be very.
I mean, it's not as western as you're putting it out. They had cars and movie studios existed.
But I do see the real selling point for me is somebody who is ignorant of a lot of Hispanic folklore. I'm so on board with
That's
this.
the part that I want to know more about.
I really want to see this deep dive into cool Hispanic folklore and like learning what these monsters are and like learning their origin stories. Even if they're retellings, it'll give me a launching point for me to want to do research on my own, I feel like.
And let's not forget that the last season of Penny Dreadful, for anyone who didn't see it, involved a lot of them in the United States, in the like Western United States, like having fucking gunfights in churches and shit. Like that was some good stuff.
That is true.
I'd love to see.
And that was at the turn of the century, so this is going to be a little bit further
not too
along.
far after. Yeah.
All right, so moving on from Penny Dreadful, a little fun bit of knowledge that came out this last week was about the Wes Craven movie Cursed. So Cursed was a movie that came out in 2005.
Okay.
If you're like, well, I never heard of that movie.
Never heard of it.
Most people didn't because it was very poorly rated.
Oh no.
It was a werewolf film done by Wes Craven.
Werewolf movies.
It originally it was about a brother and sister dealing with werewolf shit. It was Christina Ricci and Jesse Eisenberg as high school siblings. They both got bit by a werewolf.
What?
And it's the story of that.
How did I miss that?
I think I've actually seen this.
What?
Okay.
Jesse Eisenberg and Christina Ricci made a movie? Where was I?
Yeah. Well,
I was living
and
my
it's
life.
Wes Craven.
Apparently.
And so this is kind of one of those movies that has a lot of Hollywood lore to it. The thing about it was, after it was made, Bob and Harvey Weinstein ordered reshoots where they redid most of the movie. And this is like right at the end of the movie. They're like, reshoot the fucking movie. So things that were in the original movie were things like the werewolf was all done using practical effects. When they reshot the movie, they shot all the werewolf stuff in CG.
Oh, gross.
All right.
Why?
We know that Omar Epps, Skeet Ulrich, Mandy Moore, Corey Feldman were all characters that were in the original movie that were completely cut during the reshoots.
That's
How do you
insane.
cut those names out of a movie?
No, no, that's so wrong.
So
maybe he was too busy fucking like little children to pay attention to fucking what he was actually saying about the remake. What I'm saying is Weinstein's horrible piece of shit.
Yes. Agreed.
So right now they're doing a kind of a big red carpet thing for an upcoming horror movie, Welcome to Mercy. Or a new movie called Welcome to Mercy, and they were asked like, "Hey, so we remember back in the day, like this movie Cursed was very different than the thing that got released.
It seems like it was cursed.
Yeah, a little bit.
It seems like a monster tried to eat this and then shat it out, and then we're watching actual shit now.
And Gary Granite, who's the COO of Dimension Films from 95 to 2000, actually said, so we actually think there's still a Wes Craven cut of this movie, and we'd really like it to see the light of day. We basically just need to get a bunch of these actors to sign off on it getting released.
Right.
Because they were all cut, so obviously they didn't get any funding from it or anything like that. So it's one of those weird Hollywood ghost stories now that maybe someday we'll see the real version of this movie that was supposed to come out.
Oh, my God.
But from what it sounds like, the original movie was just butchered by the studio.
It sounds horrible. It sounds like what would you call that? Like the Harrison Ford fucking narrator's cut of fucking Blade Runner. Yeah. Instead of the actual cut of Blade Runner that everyone should have seen.
Yeah. It's almost like they got the sci-fi version of Blade Runner.
Exactly.
Not the actual director's cut of Blade Runner. Ugh. So I'm excited. I would love to see this movie come out. I never saw the original, but the fact that they took out so much of that cast, I was like,
the fact that Wes Craven made a movie and they were just like, let's chop this up and then feed it to people like piecemeal. Fuck you.
It's not like this movie was even like 90s Wes Craven. This is fucking post-Scream Wes Craven. And you were just like, yeah, we're just going to fucking edit his movie. Fuck that.
No. Like, I mean, it happens, though. And if he didn't have creative control over the entire thing, then the studio can do whatever the fuck they want with it. And they did whatever the fuck they want with it.
And they made some terrible decisions with it.
And now they lost money for it.
And now there is a reason why I bring up that movie that came out in 2005. And all of you just went, wait, what the fuck? There's a Wes Craven movie I didn't watch?
Yeah.
For real. Again, I'm pretty sure I did watch this.
Wait, Wes Craven made
my girlfriend, who is the biggest Wes Craven fan, I was like, hey, did you know about this movie that came out in 2005? She's like, I had no fucking clue. What is it?
Jesse Eisenberg?
Yeah.
What?
And like Christina Ricci, like what the fuck?
2005 Jesse Eisenberg. It's like not famous yet. Jesse Eisenberg.
That's like just
cusp of.
That's like good Christina Ricci too. Like
all Christina Ricci's good Christina Ricci.
Agreed.
All right, our last little bit of entertainment news for the week is going to be about Night of the Living Dead. So fun stuff came out this week about Night of the Living Dead. Obviously, George Romero is a man who had a lot of scripts, a lot of ideas.
Sure.
For his universe, essentially. And we did get sequels to Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, he made a lot of them. Yeah. He made a whole lot of them.
A whole lot of them. However, it turns out there does exist I believe it's an actual sequel, like what's considered the true sequel to the Night of the Living Dead.
Not Dawn of the Dead, or it would be Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead was the next one.
It's not Dawn of the Dead. It's an actual sequel to Night of the Living Dead.
Right, that was actually written. It's been unproduced for about 40 years. Now we are hearing that they're getting together and trying to release Night of the Living Dead Part 2 in 2019.
No. I don't want this to happen. There's a reason why he didn't make the movie for 40 years.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think.
Well, do you think the reason was that it wasn't good, or do you think the reason was other shit got in the way? Because I feel like
I've seen a lot of his zombie universe movies, and a lot of them are not very good.
Well, okay,
I don't think that.
So maybe you don't actually like George Romero movies, but that's okay. But a lot of people do, and I feel like
I love George Romero's movies. But
well, you say that, but you just said like a bunch of movies he made sucked, and all of the movies he didn't make that were sequels to Night of the Living Dead were good.
The zombie movies that were just like, why are you telling this story? This story isn't as nearly as good as the other stories that you've told before.
Well,
which I'm saying is like, because some of those stories are not very good.
Yeah.
Why would he say like, what is he holding this gem back for like after he died for somebody else for it to make it? No, you're not going to do that. You're gonna make that gem and be like, fuck you, I'm always good.
He just always had this idea, and maybe it never got made, the same way that some guy decided to make a sequel to Halloween, even though we're on Halloween like 27. And you know what? It's better than Halloween 2 through 27, so we're good there. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I saw the movie Halloween. I don't think I mentioned that. It's wonderful.
No, you didn't. Is it good?
It's wonderful. Go watch it.
See, I really like the Rob Zombie Halloween movies.
No, and it was good, and I love those too. But the new Halloween movie that came out, that's a sequel to Halloween 1, definitely watch it. 100% worth your time. Great horror.
So do you feel like we, as a people, would really enjoy getting a sequel to Night of the Living Dead, or are we just past that?
I don't think we can't possibly be past it. We've been fucking sitting here watching the goddamn Walking Dead for 8 years.
Longer than that.
Like, yeah, 10 years. I mean, Jesus Christ, zombies are not that interesting. Yeah. But for some reason, we as a society love zombies. There's no way Night of the Living Dead Part 2 isn't going to be at least worth watching.
Okay, I can agree with that.
I know what, I will watch it. I'm wary because
you know what? If
George Romero isn't here to say, yeah, there's a reason why I didn't do that, guys.
Let me put this out there. Okay, so if it is exactly as good as World War Z, the movie starring Brad Pitt
and produced by Brad Pitt,
it will have been fine and okay. Like,
that's all you can say.
Yeah, if it is exactly as good as like the worst adaptation I've ever heard of a property, then it would have still been a fine movie.
See, for me, it's the once George Romero is dead, which he is, that universe is now done. We don't get to play in his sandbox. That was his sandbox.
That's just not how that works anymore.
That's not, yeah,
I know that's not how that fucking works, but that's how it works for me.
Like, we're lucky to have a lot of our legends alive. Like, the guy who invented Indiana Jones is alive. The guy who invented Star Wars is alive. Mm-hmm. But, like, they'll be dead soon. And no one is going to say in 15 to 20 years...
Tom Savini's still alive, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so Tom Savini...
No one's going to say in 15 to 20 years, you can't just add stuff to Star Wars. George Lucas is dead. That was his vision. Right. No one's gonna say that shit because George Lucas, fuck you.
maybe zombie movies are just more sacred than Star Wars.
Maybe.
But Tom Savini, he's still alive. I would let him make the movie. He was the one that gets to decide if it should be made or not because he's worked in George Romero's sandbox. Okay. He's directed
for a long time.
He's directed movies for him. He's got his start doing special effects for George Romero.
Yeah.
So that he's the one that I would go to and be like, hey, should we actually make this, and have him answer that question?
Just let him read the script and be like, maybe.
Or we just ask him like, hey, did you ever read this? It's like, yeah, and there's a reason we didn't fucking make it. Like, we
also, if there's
like
anybody that I would trust to make edits to it, it would be Tom Savini.
Oh, yeah. No, the editing is everything, right? Yeah. So, yeah, if you were going to have, like, some asshole shoot it, and then Tom Savini editing, it would be like, oh, okay, so he knows what it was supposed to look like.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's everything we have for entertainment news this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into our final segment, the epilogue.
Bam. New beer.
Time to get nasty.
Let's do it.
I don't even know what we're talking about. Something about Red Dead Redemption and making a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that. It's going to be good.
So you say that, but like, I still have no idea what we're actually talking about. I mean, I know we'll get there.
Yeah. Did you not read the article?
No. There's an article? I know that they just the game made a lot of money.
I'm going to break all this down before I even let y'all talk.
Okay,
so.
Good.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of... Okay, so you're going to be irrationally angry about this like by the time we start because you haven't already read it.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's fine.
It's good radio.
I'm generally irrationally angry about everything.
I was going to say, it's on brand for Tony.
Okay. Yeah, whenever I was Raphael last night, they're like, yeah, that's the exact Ninja Turtle that you would have to be.
Oh, they were citing Ninja Turtles?
Well, no, I was last night for Halloween.
And you got Raphael.
No, I went as Raphael.
Oh,
yeah. You bought a onesie.
I bought a
Ninja if you had literally been any other turtle, I would have been like, bullshit, you're Raphael.
That's what they were saying, because I didn't put the mask on because I was wearing my glasses, and I was like, I don't really want to deal with that.
You didn't plan for a bandana around your glasses? What kind of Ninja Turtle are you?
First off, Donatello's the only one that even wears remotely glasses.
Yeah, but that's not the point.
And they're weird fucking
you have to wear glasses
goggles
to
at this point. No, I don't need my glasses to function, actually.
Oh, okay.
I was wearing them when I drove, and like at that point, I'm not taking them off. They're already on there. It's like my hat and my glasses are already on, so that's where they live now.
That's fair.
I'm not going out of my way to get more dressed once I'm already at the place.
All right, let's do this.
Epilogue.
Hey, Adventures, welcome back to the show. This is our epilogue. This is our main talking point for the podcast. Sometimes related to the news, sometimes not. We have a pretty deep dive of things to talk into this week. Our epilogue topic is that Red Dead Redemption is hurting the video games industry. So let's get into why I feel this way, and then I'm going to open it up to the panel. So there was a bunch of articles that came out. Obviously, Red Dead just launched, and it was a pretty big fucking success. Let's see, it soared. It went to about 725 million global retail customer sales in its first 3 days.
Right, we're literally talking about the biggest media launch of all time, bigger than any movie that's ever released. That includes fucking Infinity War.
Infinity War grossed more than 640 million in its first weekend on the big screen.
All right,
so
so
Red Dead beat this.
I have one question about that before we get too much further.
Okay.
The price for a movie ticket's like what, $12?
Yeah.
The price of game's like 60.
Sure.
That's right. No. You're not saying more people put eyes on it. You're saying it made more money.
Right.
Okay.
And it really did make more money.
So less people are enjoying the product, but it's making more money with less.
Well, you
people.
say less people, but the amount of people willing to spend $60 on a video game versus the amount of people willing to spend $12 on a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is a big deal.
Right. So why is the amount of money that Red Dead Redemption made such a big deal, and why is it a bad thing for gaming? So let's turn back the clock to about a month ago. Roughly around October 14th, New York Magazine published a feature that talked about Red Dead Redemption 2 and the making of it. And in there, Rockstar Games co-founder Dan Houser made a statement where he was working 100-hour weeks several times over the course of the year. And that's what the studio is doing. Now, the internet immediately lashed out at this and said, "There is no
very angry. You're saying like, no, don't. There's no reason in the world you should be working that many hours."
Right, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
So he went on and then kind of retconned what he was saying and said that those hours, those 100-hour work weeks, was really only for him and 3 other members of the Red Dead staff. We talked about it on the show, but shortly after he made that announcement saying it was just me and 3 other guys, we decided we wanted to work 100-hour work weeks, people from Rockstar finally started coming out of the woodwork. So we had people from Rockstar all over saying that they were also working 100-hour work weeks.
Well, it's none of that, but like 100 hours, where were you from? We were working 120-hour weeks, 140-hour weeks.
Right.
We literally slept in our fucking chairs.
We slept under our desks and then got up and worked for 3 days at a time.
We didn't bathe for extended periods of time.
Right.
And so the testimony that these Rockstar employees were talking about didn't line up to what the head of Rockstar was saying about this. So we have a couple quotes here. One person from Rockstar said, "Back when we worked normal hours, I never felt anxiety going back into work. But over the last year, I have. Under normal circumstances, it is work that we can do to a high standards. We consider ourselves a very capable department. We have a lot of pride in what we do. It's just the amount of time that we're there. I almost feel guilty because I can't give 100% of my ability, as mentally I'm just shot. It's been very difficult." We found out that over the course of this whole kind of mini investigation that in the UK, where a lot of this stuff was being made, UK employment laws state that a person can only work for 8 out of every 24 hours. But Rockstar employees sign agreements to waive this condition. Another person came on from Rockstar and said, "I'm tired. I don't have time for myself or to see those I care about. I don't remember the last time I went on a date with my girlfriend. My family lives 30 minutes away, and I don't remember the last time I saw them in person. There are friends that I used to see on a weekly basis that I'm now lucky to see every few months. There are friends that I see every few months that I haven't seen for years. When there's a requirement to work 6 days a week and longer hours within the week, you have to, quote-unquote, sacrifice a day off to actually live your life. It becomes a choice of missing out on the rest and being tired for the week or being selfish and taking a day for yourself, which is a horrible choice to make." A lot of people, Rockstar said that these hours were mandatory, in air quotes. So here we are. And why did I knowledge dump all this on you? Well, what I'm saying is that what we have is what is considered one of not only the greatest game launches of all time, but also one of the greatest pop culture launches of all time.
Yeah, for real.
So we need to ask ourselves, as video gamers, as a community, is it fucking worth it? Is that copy of Red Dead Redemption that you put into your PS4 or whatever this weekend and are dropping 80 hours into right now, is it worth what these people just said?
See, and I feel like the answer has to be no. The question is like, is it worth it? You know what? When I haven't played it yet, but when I look at Red Dead Redemption, when I watch people play it on Twitch, the attention to detail almost borders on obsession with detail. There is so much incredible detail. I watched a friend of mine who hunts deer with bow comment on the behavior of deer in the wild in Red Dead Redemption and say, fuck, that's exactly what they do. You see that all the time. And I'm like, fuck, that's amazing. I can't believe the level of detail in this game. But at the same time, the amount of crunch that happened only made the game come out sooner. It didn't make the game better. In fact, there's an argument to be made that it made the game worse because the employees were in such a shit state. So the answer has to be no. The answer has to be, if the more you abuse your employees, yes, your game will come out sooner. And you may, over a long game, see a bigger profit because more games come out faster. But your games won't be better.
I'm going to try and say the opposite of that. I mean, I totally agree with you, but I'm going to try and play the other side, okay?
All right. You advocate the shit out of this devil.
Before we do this, just so real quick for our audience who may not be familiar with it, what is crunch time in game development?
All right.
According to Rockstar, the entire game's development.
I was going to say the entire game's development according to Rockstar. So usually there's a time when a video game's about to come out, usually, and I say this with an air of mentioning it in like 10 years ago, the more that I think about it. The crunch time was the last 2 or 3 months of a game development cycle when it really needed to come out, when we really mapped out this game's coming out in like 3 to 4 months. We need to get this game out the door.
Polish, debug.
Yes, and we know what our list of bugs are, and our list of bugs is massive, and we need to start hammering them out, because when we put this on the disc and give it to our customers, that's the game, and that's everything.
Yeah, no, it was the generally about 6 months prior to a game being listed as going gold.
6 months is way more recent. And the reason I say that is because it was only in the last couple of years that game development continued after a game came out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was when it had to go gold. When it was the game is now being pressed into discs. It's literally the gold copy of the game.
Right.
We don't have any changes after this. And now with the world of the internet
it doesn't happen
connectivity,
anymore.
we don't do that. It's the game goes gold and then you still work on it.
Right. Let's not forget that Red Dead Redemption 2, the game that we're talking about, came out and on launch day had a 50 gigabyte patch. Not only so that the game would be updated and playable, but so that it could not be pirated, because every version
already leaked.
Because every version of the game before that was missing 50 gigabytes of data and was basically unplayable.
Right. So Tony, I know that you're about to play devil's advocate, which actually does kind of come into my next question, which is, are there times where crunch time can be good for game development?
Yeah, no, overall, like, crunch time is... It can be good just on a service with trying to get shit done in that whenever... Like, a pre-internet time, before we had DLC, before we had the ability to do day one updates.
All right.
You needed that time to say, like, hey, guys, this is the part where we actually buckle down, real hardcore, finish this shit, and afterwards we all get steak dinners or whatever the fuck ever. Like, it wasn't seen as a months-long or years-long journey during that. I mean, obviously the journey is that long, but what the fuck ever. It wasn't this extended crunch time that we have now.
It wasn't until I think like L.A. Noire or whatever that detective game was. What am I talking about?
About L.A. Noire.
It was L.A. Noire, where the company making that. And we talk about Atlas and Rockstar as having finished those games, but the original company from New Zealand working on that game spent 2 years in crunch time trying to finish it. And before that, crunch time was really seen as like the end of a game cycle. But once that game came out, I feel like there was a signal flare to the world where you could develop an entire fucking game in crunch time, and people didn't really care that much.
Right. Yeah, and that's a big problem. And the thing is that L.A. Noire did come out, I believe, through Take-Two as well.
Yes.
And so we're talking about this is all kind of all falling under the same banner as Rockstar. While Rockstar didn't make L.A. Noire,
right,
we have parent companies involved at that point that hold the same kind of mentality when it comes to how one develops video games.
So whenever I'm looking at this, if I'm Rockstar and I just saw that we had just made more money on a release than anything had ever made in the history of ever.
Right.
And I can look at it and go, well, we've got a bunch of people who said that they worked a lot of hours. So obviously, if you work a lot of hours, we make a lot more money.
Yeah.
So there is zero reason to not work a lot of hours. And if you feel burned out and if you feel like you can't do it, you're fucking replaceable.
Yes.
So leave, and we'll get somebody who is willing to do this. You should be lucky to work in the video game industry.
Right. I mean, that is the message. That was actually my next question: is what message does this say to the rest of the games industry? And you're actually right.
You're literally Uncle Scrooge right now, going like, "All right, Cratchit. Well, if you can't work in the cold, why should I pay for extra coal? Someone else will come and work in the cold
for less money because they need it more.
They need a job. Do you not need a job? Well, of course you need a job. I'll work in the cold. Fuck you. Fuck everything about this. And there are so many industries in the United States that need a fucking union. But the most fucked over industry in the United States that needs a union is
that makes a shitload of money.
Is the tech industry, because they are overpaid for how much fucking profit they generate, and B, the video game industry, specifically in the tech industry, because Jesus Christ, if they got even the smallest fraction of the amount of money they made, if anyone who programmed Red Dead Redemption 2.
Let's talk about bug testers. Bug testers are paid shit, and that is one of the most important jobs that you can have.
No, for sure. But let's say I just programmed the grass in Red Dead Redemption 2, and instead of getting all my overtime pay, I got a sliver of royalties from how much that game sold. I'd be a fucking millionaire. Mm-hmm. I would.
But you got to take dinner instead.
It could be less than 1% and be a fucking millionaire. They made more money than goddamn Thanos in their first weekend. And all of the programmers are probably poor and out of work right now and waiting for the next job to come along. Mm-hmm. How is that okay?
It's not. It's completely unacceptable. And I mean, this is really frustrating because let's assume that like Red Dead Redemption wins all the awards this year.
Which it's about to.
Right? Would you think that that would be a time when all these awards are being thrown at Red Dead Redemption that maybe the industry needs to start fucking speaking out against these practices?
We tried this.
And I'm not saying they're not.
Well, no. We tried this. We tried this at the Oscars when The Life of Pi came out. Mm-hmm. The Life of Pi came out, and it won fucking Oscars. And it won Oscar for best fucking effects. And the effects team walked out on stage and said, none of us got paid for this. We worked our asses off and we're all fired now and none of us have jobs. You're giving me an Oscar statue and I am about to be homeless. And they turned off his microphone and let him walk off the stage. And they shot a picture of fucking, I don't know, Tom Cruise's ex-wife. What's her name? Mm-hmm. I don't. And she look. Nicole Kidman looks up on stage and goes, "Oh my God, poor thing." And that's what they shot. That her saying, "Oh, you poor thing," after his mic got turned off while he was pleading for his actual livelihood. Mm-hmm. And then he went away and no one talked about him again. And that is what happens to the tech workers in industries in general. But it can't happen to video game developers because they're the ones making the games.
Yeah.
I get that movies can live without CG. For the most part, maybe not modern, but they really can. We see a lot of movies, great movies, every year without CG. Mm-hmm. There are no video games without fucking computer programmers, period.
Right.
That's literally in the game. It's the only way to make the thing is to do that.
We can no more make video games without computer programmers than we can make movies without cameras. Therefore, we can't...
Technically, you can make movies without cameras. It requires CGI. You can do it entirely inside of a computer.
Yeah. Tell me all the Oscars those movies have won.
Every animation Oscar that's for the last, 10 years.
Yeah? All of those?
All the Pixar films are not shot with a camera. They are they're done entirely digitally.
All right, yeah. Cameras never existed in those movies at all.
So, I mean, this is a really frustrating prospect that we're looking at because you as a gamer, like everybody who is out there that's listening, that's not a game programmer, should be listening to what's going on right now and saying that this is fucked up.
For real.
And then I'm not shitting on Red Dead Redemption and saying it's a bad game.
No, it's a great game. That's the tragedy of all this, right. Isn't it? That is such a great game. Yeah. That every time, okay, and this has been on Twitch for the last week and a half. Every time something amazing happens in Red Dead Redemption, someone goes, "Oh my God, those 100-hour weeks really are showing." And it's supposed to be, it's a cruel joke, but it is honestly true. The game is wonderful, and it is on the backs of those workers who are now, for the most part, unemployed, that this amazing game came out.
Yeah.
We can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
And not every game company can be CD Projekt Red. So
that's true. And that's the issue that we face here is that you look at a project like Red Dead Redemption 2 that we know is going to be coming out, or we know is going to be winning all the awards this year. It's going to win all the awards. Everybody's going to be praising this game. And unfortunately, this was a game that was made by people who literally had to sacrifice their lives.
Right.
Who didn't see their families, who didn't get to go home to their pets, who lived and breathed and ate and shit at the office. And you know what? They're probably all really proud of their work.
They are.
But they're not going to be seeing shit from this.
No. They're certainly not getting money from it.
Yeah.
No royalties.
No, they got their salaries.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit of a bonus at the end.
Maybe.
Maybe. That's what they're going to be getting out of this.
Bonuses are for executives, James.
I know. But I mean, it's really fucked up because this is how we treat game development.
It is.
Across the world. And the next question we really have to ask ourselves is that, do we believe that crunch time will always be the standard in the world of game development?
There will always be a crunch time. There doesn't always have to be a loser when it comes to crunch time. Okay, and again, and I say it for the second time tonight, but there's never been an industry more in need of a union than game developers. Mm-hmm. Because if they literally all joined a union and said, yeah, we'll make your game, but not like this, or yeah, we'll make your game exactly like how you want it to, and it'll come out on the day you want, but you're going to need to pay us some of that fucking money you're making. And
you're also going to have to hire at least a minimum number of people to do that job.
Right.
Because you say like, oh, I've got 3 years that I'm going to want this product to come out. And you're like, well, you need to hire twice as many people as you think you're going to, because we have a maximum number of hours that we are allowed to work per week. That's what we're going to be doing.
Let's take a really old example. Let's take Halo 3. Halo 3 had a 150-person development team on it for the single player and the multiplayer combined.
I'm going to go
150 people. That game made over $1 billion. And the 150-person development team, most of that, like over $1 billion, went to the top 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
Those actual programmers got nothing.
I'm going to pull out specifically this line from the Game of Chess. I don't care about the workers' social lives as long as I get Red Dead Redemption 2. And it is exactly that mentality that is going to keep perpetuating this idea that we don't need to have unions.
So cool, you care about playing a video game more than you do about other people's actual lives.
Right, and you know what? And I would love to shame this person into oblivion, but at the same time, it just seems really like normal for this country.
No, that's the state of the world right now. That shit forever.
Right. No, so this game is great, and someone had to work really hard. Oh well, whatever. Okay, but also this guy who you love, who made all of the things that you love, is homeless now. What about that? Well, I guess it's fine. It's not fine.
Yeah, most of these people are going to lose their contracts after Red Dead is finished.
Yeah, and you know what? Whoever said that, what if? I mean, he might have a wife. He might have a kid. What the guy who made the game has a wife and a kid. Yeah. How would you like to be homeless after making the most popular thing in the United States for a day, a week, a month?
Yeah,
and like you worked on all of this, and you sit there and you're like, well, I guess I'm really successful. I don't know how I'm going to afford groceries tomorrow, but I guess I did a good thing.
Yeah, you get to be proud of what you made, but you're not going to be seeing any of the profit margins.
That's not fucking okay.
Yeah, there's no reason why Rockstar should be requiring, they said in this, mandatory overtime for each of their employees. When that earlier statement was made where they said that you either have to decide whether or not you want to be making this game because you will feel guilty if you take a personal day off.
Yeah, because nobody else is.
Like, how would you feel, like, if tomorrow your boss came to you and said, by the way, you've just got to keep working 100-hour work weeks, you were not allowed to take a day off?
There were stories in the Eurogamer article about people with babies. Mm-hmm. There were literal babies born during the development of this game that their fucking programmer, wife or husband, who had the baby, was not able to see for a year because they were developing this video game.
Yeah.
And at the end of the mark, when they shipped it, and they were like, fuck yeah, I shipped this shit, they got nothing. They got their normal salary, if they got a salary.
Yeah.
Maybe they were an independent contractor, and they got terminated when the project was over.
Yeah.
Maybe they never had health insurance the whole time.
Mm-hmm. True. And these are all sad realities of game development right now, because there is this mentality within the games industry that everybody wants into this industry. You are replaceable.
Yeah.
And until we stop saying that,
and maybe this isn't even just a video game problem. Maybe it's a late stage capitalism problem. Maybe it's a 100% an America problem, because the more we look at European game studios, the more
except you're talking about a UK game studio.
The more we see, yeah, you do, but I mean, most of the interviews that we heard of didn't happen in the UK.
Right.
A lot of the ones in the UK literally stated there are laws against us in the UK and we signed our rights away, which is true. But a majority of the game development for Red Dead Redemption 2 happened in California, and it was bad, and the people were treated poorly, and now they're out of a job.
This is the entire conversation we were having right now. We're specifically focusing on this one game because it is...
Because it's a good example.
It is a great example of the plight of the worker. And this is something that we as Americans have been having a conversation about since before the creation of fucking America.
Well, sure.
So I think in the last roughly 250 years that very little has changed, that it's going to take another 250 for very little to happen to actually change in the video game industry.
I mean, you say that, but at the same time, like... you know what this really is, and if not to get too fucking tabby on you, fucking smash the patriarchy and all that, and the goddamn reptiles, but if I'm being honest, it's just late stage capitalism, and the guillotines are coming. Like,
so, this is right. Let's dial this back for a second, and because we do need to start wrapping this segment up. What needs to be done within the video games industry so that stories like this never happen again?
Actual unionization. Not just that they keep fucking every time there's like a games developers conference, you get a lot of people starting to talk about it and then never actually saying, fuck you, we are just going to stop working altogether until all of us have a union.
You were having an existential moment here on this podcast where me and Tony are in 100% agreement.
Holy shit.
I am talking about an actual union for video game makers akin to the fucking SAG union. I'm talking about the Screen Actors Guild for video games, where if one actor is mistreated, if one actor is asked to work overtime and not be paid for it, if one fucking grip, one dolly, one dude who fucking pushes a dolly with a camera on it is asked to work overtime without pay, he talks to his SAG representative, and that movie is shut down. That's what we need for video games. We need a programmer who's like, oh my god, we really need you to fix this rope zip mechanic. Can you do it overnight? We need it by tomorrow. Actually, if you don't do it by tonight, we're going to have to find someone else. He calls his SAG representative, and that video game is on hold until the whole thing is worked out.
Literally everybody stops working.
Yeah, literally the entire... Like, EA is ground to a halt by mistreating one employee. When that happens for video games, the way it happens for movies, we'll be in the right spot.
Right. That's understandable. I mean, there's a lot of things to consider here when you're talking about how we can treat other humans like humans. Like, that's
what we can treat human beings worth and work as if it has value.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the really difficult part about this, is that at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about, is just treating these game developers like they're human beings.
Right. Like the 8 hours a day that they put in matters.
Honestly, all right, so we're specifically talking about, again, this is Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a game that I have zero fucking interest in.
Fine.
That I would be more than happy if it just massively failed. I don't fucking care about this game. I care about the workers that made the fucking thing. Because in my mind, if the game had failed and they spent that much fucking time and energy working on it, they would have more of an incentive to unionize. But right now, because the game made so much fucking money, they're not seeing a reason to do that, because that game's making so much money, so maybe they can get the next job.
Right.
See, and I feel like completely the opposite. I feel like because of the success of this game, in the same way that we saw Grand Theft Auto 4 with one of the main voice actors get on YouTube and say, I'm broke. This game came out, and it's the most... It was Grand Theft Auto 4. This is the most well-received video game in the last 10 years. This is the best...
Yeah, it won all kinds of fucking awards.
Best game received of all time right now. And I can't pay my rent. I am a major voice actor in this game, and they paid me not enough money to afford my rent in the city. And yet here I am asking you for money because... I mean, what the fuck? How is this okay? This is George Lucas asking for toy royalties because he was smart enough to do that. Because if George Lucas hadn't asked to have the copyrights to the toys for Star Wars, he'd be a poor, homeless dude, not
It's
George
the studio
Lucas.
owned everything at that point.
Exactly.
Except for the one thing that
And that's what we're not getting out of game developers, out of the people who have the real ideas, who make the real choices, out of the real Nathan Drakes of the world, out of the real fucking John Marstons of the world, out of the Red Dead Redemption guys, when they don't get their fucking credit for doing their work, when it all goes to Rockstar. I mean, how do we not run out of ideas, and how do we not run out of games?
Sometimes we need to stop thinking about video game companies as companies and thinking about the people who work specifically in them.
Agreed.
Even if it's something so small as maybe take the time to just watch those credits, even if it bores you. Because those are all people who poured their blood, sweat, and tears into a product that you sunk 100 hours into.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my first playthrough, I actually let the credits roll to the whole thing. I'm like, these are all the... Which is weird. I don't do that for movies.
Yeah.
I fucking just... I'm like, no, unless it's a Marvel movie where I want something after the credits, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
But at least... I guess the way to say is, at least I'm giving them a little bit more of my time to like at least watch their names scroll by.
Yeah.
Versus a movie where I know that these people are being taken care of.
Yeah.
For the most part, we do have
Yeah.
cases like with Life of Pi,
Yeah.
where obviously that is not what happened.
Yeah.
And that situation is not fixable right now because the people who do CGI work are not members of these guilds or these unions because they haven't been created yet.
Right.
The studio industry hasn't, was it still technically in its infancy for these types of things
Right.
with CGI, with these
Or they
animation
just
teams.
operate in a field that isn't unionized yet.
Yeah.
And it needs to be. And I guess just someone needs to lead that charge.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get there. All right, so we've deep dove into a lot of this stuff that's going on. By the way, guys, we're not shitting all over Red Dead Redemption.
No,
we're
it's
not
a
saying
good
it's a bad game. We're saying that the business practices behind it are much more indicative of a larger issue at hand with the video games industry.
I would never shame anyone who wanted to enjoy Red Dead Redemption. I can't wait to enjoy Red Dead Redemption. I'm a fucking PC elitist.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for it to come out on PC before I play it. That being said, I'm going to fucking play it. And I understand the plight of the worker that went into this game, but I'm still going to play it. That being said,
Well, it's like saying, like, yeah,
I really would like the game industry to change. When you see the good stories coming out of it, and again, not to shame any other studios, but the studios that work for the Sony exclusive, I'm talking about Studio Santa Monica, I'm talking about Naughty Dog, very few of their workers come out and say, I had a bad experience. Most of them say they had a good experience, and it's because they're developing a game that isn't designed to make a ton of money. And I know that's counterproductive, and maybe not counterproductive is the wrong word, counterintuitive, but the people who make money based on video games that are supposed to sell a really good story rather than make a fuck ton of microtransactions, they seem happier.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And when you talk about Red Dead Redemption 2 and the story that everyone's going for, the story that everyone wants to see before, Red Dead Redemption Online, they all want to see the story. And those people should be making good money the way that all of the Sony studios do that are making video games that aren't just filled with bullshit. I just wish that was more prevalent.
That is true. All right, that's a lot to take in. If you have any opinions about what we've been talking about this week on the podcast, Tony, where can they find us?
Facebook.com/TheSillyNerd. Like, share with your friends, all of that. Twitch.tv/TheSillyNerd, where we do this normally on Mondays.
Usually on Mondays.
Normally on Mondays around 7:30 Central. But today, since it's Hector's birthday,
Happy birthday, Hector.
we decided to do it for Hector's birthday.
Yeah.
I think at his request. So
We needed an early day.
yeah. We've got thesillinerd@gmail.com, since I still have yet to figure out why the email servers don't fucking work. We've got our website, thesillinerd.com, where you can read articles about video games and stuff that we put up sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a donate button on there if you want to. Donate button on Twitch. Twitter @thesillinerd.
Yeah.
You can do that stupid archaic thing. Dude, Twitter's fucking dead. Social media's fucking going away. I'm just done with that
Tony's
shit.
just like burned down.
Okay, so
burned down
for
the-
Tony, social media is going away. I feel like everyone else is still pretty on board.
Yeah, we're so pretty.
No, like, it's
It's
dying
because he
off.
deleted the Facebook app from
Twitter's
his phone.
over, guys.
As
Wait,
soon as he deletes
no.
the app from his phone, he
Okay.
believes it doesn't exist.
No, yeah,
That's how it works.
it's dog logic. It's now no longer in my bubble. So it's
literally,
not there
there was
anymore.
cheese over there, and my master turned my head. There is no longer cheese.
All right, that's everything we have for the show this week. Thank you for sticking around with us. We'd love to hear from you. Hit me up again at the Silly Nerd on Twitter. I want to hear your opinions about all this good stuff. Yeah. Until next week, adventures for Tony. This is James.
For James, this is Tony.
And I'm Hector.
Adventures, good night.
And good game.
Nice.
Oh, and we don't let you say your opinion because you can't say faggot.
No, you cannot do that.
Oh, they're already gone, so fuck them.
I mean,
Oh, were they actually like saying shit in there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I missed what they said.
Yeah, no, it's a little. The text is small from over here, but
all right, I'll in stream so I can actually read off what they.
Yeah,
because we can't
let
say
us
that.
know what.
We'll get
what's
banned
going
on like Twitch if they have certain language.